Welcome back to the best division in football with your boys Awthentik and The Beard, the best television show not on TV. Definitely a little bit under the weather today, man. I had to cancel the Giant Overreaction show on Monday. Definitely got something on Thanksgiving. Shout out to my little homie Apollo, man. He was picking boogers, throwing them on the couch and all kind of stuff, man. I think that's where I ultimately ended up getting sick from. But we got a couple of games to go over today, man. This should be a really good show. Didn't get a chance to chop it up with y'all on Monday, so we're going to go a little bit more in-depth today on the NFC East recap show. Week 12, man. We're already here at Week 12. Shout out to Tiki Barber. He's a semifinalist for the Hall of Fame for the first time, man. Tiki Barber, 15,632 scrimmage yards. That's 15th in NFL history, so best of luck to Tiki Barber. Hopefully he can get himself a jacket and get into the Hall of Fame. Jalin Hyatt nominated for Rookie of the Week this week. I got a last-second fantasy football victory literally on that last catch from DJ Moore on the Monday night game. I was leading that game by a lot too, man. Thanksgiving leftovers definitely hitting right now. And thank you very much, DJ Moore. I definitely appreciate that. We got 3 games to go over. Commanders at Cowboys on Thanksgiving, which seems like that was about 3 weeks ago. You got the Patriots who traveled to MetLife to take on the Giants. They end up losing that one, and the Buffalo Bills lost a heartbreaker, a much-needed victory for the Buffalo Bills, too, against the Philadelphia Eagles. We got some hot seat talk. We got some fired coaches. We got some other coaches that should be fired. Before I bring in the best co-host in the country, I just want to send a special condolences to my homie's family, man. We lost a good brother in the New York Giants community this past week. My good homie, my good brother, Pest, a.k.a. PTA Sports, Pestilence. He was a great, funny personality in our community, man. Shout out to all the content creators in the Giants nation and community that have been sending their condolences out to Pest. I had the pleasure of actually hanging out with Pest at the 2021 Fan Fest. It was the first Fan Fest hosted by Eli Manning and the New York Giants. We kicked it all damn day. I drove up with him, man. We chilled. We drank good. We kicked it afterwards. We partied good, man. And we gonna miss that brother, man. I just talked to Pest like 2 weeks ago on the phone. He was diagnosed with cancer. Told me he was gonna be, fighting this good fight. Told me personally not to worry about it. He's gonna have to take a pill or something like that a couple of days a week and whatnot. And we get this unfortunate news, just a couple of weeks after that. So again, condolences to Pest and his family, his wife, Desiree. I saw some good messages going around social media. That's a good brother we lost way too young. So y'all put some RIPs, put some biceps in the chat for Pest, man. I know he's definitely looking down. And just the last thing I'll say about Pest, he was the first guest I had on the Giant Overreaction. And I remember scrambling that week when I started the show, looking for somebody I could feature on the show. And Pest was like, dude, I got you, man. Pulled up, we chopped it up. It's going to be eerie to go back and watch that episode. And I think it was like, it was only right in a way that like this sickness hit me on Monday and I didn't have a chance to do the Giant Overreaction. So I think that's kind of like an ode to Pest, man. So rest in peace to Pest, man. We definitely going to miss you, man. Let me bring on my brother from another mother here one time. Shout out to my Dukes one time. Beard, how you living over there, fam?
I'm doing good, man. That's tough to hear. Pest was a great dude. Always showed me love. So definitely shout out to Pest and his family. Rest in peace to the brother. It's been wild since Thanksgiving, obviously here in DC. A lot of turkey leg eaten on the sidelines led to the firing of Jack Del Rio. And so I'm hanging on, man, best I possibly can, obviously. Shout out to Marcus, who says I'm rocking my Philly green. I'm sorry I ran out of blue and silver to wear for you guys. But shout out to all the Dallas Cowboys fans in the chat. You guys have well-deserved victory week here after facing what I will now agree to say, the worst team in the division.
Okay. Yeah. A little too late.
Spike don't care.
I had to hold on, man. I was holding on, like I said, by a thread here. Facts. So listen, we're in an interesting time right now when it comes to NFL, right? You're gonna have teams that are right on the line. You're gonna have teams that are gonna make playoff push, teams that are gonna fall out of the playoffs. Right now, the Buffalo Bills are like the 12th seed in the AFC or something crazy like that. So it's going to be interesting to see what teams are going to do moving forward. It's just there's a lot of moving pieces. You got some bye weeks. The late bye weeks are going to be interesting to see some of these teams.
Tough.
So I mean, we still haven't had a bye week here in Washington, which is and we're going right from Dallas and welcome in the Miami Dolphins. So it's going to be fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Ron Rivera is taking over the play calling duties on the defensive side of the ball. So we'll see how that goes.
I mean, you're not scared of Miami. You remember when we talked about it during the record prediction show. You know, Miami is a team y'all can beat. Remember, Seattle team y'all can beat.
I just want to fast forward to the playoffs where I don't have to talk about the Commanders anymore. So I mean, listen, we're sitting in a position that you guys were sitting in not too long ago, and we're like the 5th pick in the draft, 5th or 4th pick now. I think after Chicago won last night.
Yeah, so, y'all are the 4th pick. The Chicago Bears are up on y'all actually in the playoff hunt right now. It's just the Carolina Panthers and the Arizona Cardinals, and that's it.
That's it, really?
That's it.
We're the 3rd worst team in the NFC?
Yep.
That's crazy.
Congratulations.
Thanks, bud. But
big shout out. Bills are number 10. They're number 10 right now. Yeah,
number 10, okay. Yep. But big shout out to everybody in the chat, everybody who's rocking with us right now on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and of course right here on YouTube. We appreciate all the love and all the support. We gotta talk some football now, man. Some good football and some really bad football.
Yeah, let's start off with the bad football. We'll start with your Washington Commanders, who got trounced by the Dallas Cowboys one time on Thanksgiving.
I see a lot. I see some questions too. I don't even want to know what all those questions are. I'm scrolling through the graphics department. I see a lot of Q's in there.
It was an ugly, ugly loss for the Commanders on Thursday, 45-10. Good God, that is ridiculous. The Cowboys were favored by 10.5. They definitely covered that one. It was 20-10 at the half, seeming like the Washington Commanders had a chance, and the Cowboys ripped off 25 points in the 4th quarter. Commanders went scoreless in the 2nd half. 45 was the 3rd most points the Cowboys have scored on any Thanksgiving game, and they've been playing Thanksgiving football games
is there going to be a lot of these that you're going to go through right now?
I got a good chunk of nuggets here, man. I brought you some old, cold nuggets that have been sitting in the car for a long time here. All right. Jack Del Rio ends up getting fired in this one. We're going to definitely talk about that just a little bit as well. The Commanders' 2nd half possessions, 3 turnovers on downs, 1 punt, 1 pick six. Like, when you have more turnover on downs than you do punts in a type of game like this, it's kind of interesting. They did have the 1 pick six. Congrats to DeRon Bland. He broke the record for most pick sixes in a single season. That's now 5, which is absolutely ridiculous. The game has seen some great cornerbacks who definitely are part of the highlights of pick sixes, the Deion Sanders and all these guys. None of them have ever had 5 in a single season. Now, let's talk about these Cowboys one time. Let's fade this down a little bit because these nuggets going to be served cold for sure today. The Cowboys have now won 13 games in a row at home, 2nd longest streak at home in Cowboys history. They have not trailed at home at any point in time during this season. They have not trailed at home. The Commanders started off 2-0 this season. Washington is now on a 3-game losing streak. They have lost 8 of their last 10 games. I do feel for you, and I'm going to pity you today. It won't be a lot of this, okay? I'm putting it back in the holster, okay? I'm not going to shoot too many shots at you today because your team is pretty pathetic right now. Like, I know the New York Giants have had a really rough season, but the way that y'all spiraled out of control after those 2 victories to start the season has been ridiculous. Y'all are 0-5 now against the NFC. This was Dak Prescott's 15th straight home win versus a division opponent. Y'all can't even beat a team in the division right now. Struggle mode completely. And Dak Prescott's on a 15 straight home winning streak against division opponents. Dak Prescott now has 5 straight games with multiple passing touchdowns, 4 passing touchdowns in 3 out of his last 5 performances. If you just took a glance at the box score, the Commanders were definitely in this game. They won time of possession by 13 minutes. They won first downs 23-21. Total yards was just a 55-yard margin. They outrushed the Cowboys 108-100. Less penalties than the Dallas Cowboys. The Beard did talk about penalties. I don't think the Cowboys breached double-digit penalties in this one. The Cowboys were perfect in the red zone, though. That was one of our major topics on our preview show on Thursday, talking about efficiency and talking about maximizing attempts. The Cowboys do that in both ways. They were 3 for 3 in the red zone. Washington was 1 for 2. Offensively, Dallas had 0 turnovers on the day. I think the biggest number to take away from this game was the yards per play. Mm-hmm. Dallas Cowboys yards per play, 10.3. Washington, 5. So you're doubling them up. You're doubling them up pretty much every time you run a play. And yeah, they ran a lot less plays than the Washington Commanders did, but the results, are in the yards per play there. 3 straight blowout wins for the Dallas Cowboys. They beat y'all 45-10. They beat the Carolina Panthers 33-10. They beat the New York Giants 49-17. Dak Prescott has been on an absolute tear in the month of October and the month of November. He's just absolutely going ape out here. He was 22 of 32 for 331 passing yards, 4 touchdowns on the day. Dak completed passes to 10 different pass catchers on the day. Dak has at least 30 attempts in 6 straight games, and normally that is not a recipe for victories, but for Dak Prescott, it seems to be. He has over 30 attempts in all but 2 games this season. He had touchdown passes to Rico Dowdle, Kevontae Turpin, CeeDee Lamb, of course, Brandon Cooks. Helped me out in my fantasy league. I had Jake Ferguson in. He was the only guy that didn't get a touchdown from Dak Prescott, it seemed like. Dak Prescott in the last 5 games, 17 touchdowns to just 2 interceptions. And he had a little bit of help. CeeDee Lamb had 4 receptions for 53 yards, 1 touchdown. Brandon Cooks, 4 receptions for 72 and a touchdown. Tony Pollard, 13 carries for just 79 yards. Real pedestrian type of game. I'd say those were the kind of games that got the New York Giants to victories last year on the back of Saquon Barkley. Like, you get over 70, it's just enough. And these blowout victory type of games for the Dallas Cowboys, it seems that Dak Prescott really doesn't got to do that much, but he did have 4 touchdowns, 331 yards in this one, and a QBR of 87. And before I kick this over to you, I'm going to just throw this question out there. If Dak Prescott is not the MVP through 12 weeks of football, then who is?
Listen, Dak Prescott should be the favorite for MVP right now. I think the only thing that's holding him back in the eyes of the voters is the competition. I think numerically, statistically, however you want to put it, he 100% should be, especially like a lot of the MVP is what have you done for me lately? And I mean, you've just rattled off insane numbers for Dak Prescott, over these last couple of weeks. So I think Dak Prescott should be the MVP right now. I don't see anybody else. Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I was going to mention Jalen Hurts, although the numbers don't support it.
Yeah, his numbers aren't like jumping off the screen, right? And we'll talk about this during the Eagles-Buffalo game. But Jalen Hurts, without Jalen Hurts, I know without Dak, we could say probably close to the same thing, but there's something about Jalen Hurts that he is the most valuable player. Like, to take away from, like, the MVP and stuff like that, but, like, taking Jalen Hurts off of that team, I don't care what nobody says. I know a lot of Giants fans will say, oh, he's got the best offensive line. He's got the best weapons.
We're still seeing that narrative, yeah.
But it's just the things that don't show up in the box score with Jalen Hurts, it's off the charts for me. And so, like, and the competition in which he's playing against these last few weeks, like we're talking about the Dolphins, we're talking about the Chiefs, we're talking about the Bills. It's a big difference between, the Giants, the Panthers, and the Commanders. And I hate to use that as an excuse, but I think that's what the voters are probably looking at right now. And if there's anybody else, I mean, they're all dark horses, right? Maybe Tua, maybe a Tyreek. If you're looking in that direction, Hill
before I go Tua.
Maybe a Patrick Mahomes. Maybe once again, the numbers aren't jumping off the paper, but he'll get that sort of that Mahomes vote. Just because. Yeah. And I mean, running back wise, I mean, we look at CMC maybe because I look at the top teams. Like, you gotta win, right, to be MVP in the National Football League. You gotta win.
Yeah,
and so
I don't think that when they vote for MVP, they do kind of what you're doing right now, where they like line up the players that are winning, putting up the numbers, doing all that, and go, well, this guy played against this team and this guy didn't, and like kind of weigh it like that.
But I feel like
Yeah.
right now, like the talk wise, is that like I guess in sports talk in general, whether you're on radio or TV, a lot of people will play the devil's advocate role of Prescott and say like like, oh well, he's doing it against the 3 worst teams in the NFC, right?
Hey, this is a good point Marquez brought up here too, though, is that Dak Prescott is dominating teams that Philly struggled against. Y'all being one of them.
That's a very valid point.
Very valid point, right?
Very valid point. And like I said, like for me, I'm this is for sake of conversation and sake of debate. For me, I think Dak Prescott should be the leader as far as MVP goes right now. And then I see C.J. Stroud. I think C.J. Stroud 1,000% should be in the conversation.
Stroud been
but
balling.
he's on the outside looking in right now. Right now, for me, it's a two-headed race. Dak and Hurts. I don't really think anybody else is close.
I would throw C.J. Stroud in there because C.J. Stroud's playing much cleaner football than Jalen Hurts is. He's been taking care of the ball. Outside of that 3-interception game a week ago, C.J. Stroud has been playing flawless football. He came into that game with 15 touchdowns, 1 interception. Where I think Jalen Hurts has the edge on both the quarterbacks we're talking about here is Jalen Hurts has those staple victories, like this game this past weekend where it's like everything on the line. He's finding a way to win and beat elite teams, right? The dude has 11 rushing touchdowns with 6 games left. He has 18 passing touchdowns. Like, people are still not putting the proper respect on Jalen Hurts' name. Literally right before we went on air, I'm in a conversation with somebody on a post from Pizzle, and they're saying that Jalen Hurts was, pushed into the end zone, had help from his team. And I'm like, he's like, if you watch the games, you'll know that his team's pushing him in the end zone. And I'm like, I watched the game, and the overtime touchdown was not a tush push.
Nope.
He had a nice little quarterback.
There's nobody close
run.
to him at 29, right? Is it total touchdowns?
I don't think so. I can look it up real quick.
Because I mean, Dak's probably got to be up there now with passing touchdowns. I know. Josh Allen's probably close too, because Josh Allen
was leading in passing touchdowns entering this game.
I mean, Jalen Hurts
Dak Prescott had 23, I believe.
He had 5 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts did, and Josh Allen had 4 touchdowns. Right? 2 rushing,
career
2
high
passing.
for what you call it for Jalen Hurts. So let's see. It's Josh Allen. Josh Allen has 33 touchdowns. That's why when you made that face last week when I was comparing Josh Allen to somebody and you said, well, Sam Howell only has this. I was like, bruh, but Josh Allen is over 2-1 right now.
Yeah,
he's turning the ball over, but like the 2-1, 33 total touchdowns. Third is Dak Prescott. So are we leaving Josh Allen off this list? Are we doing that?
We are.
I don't think I am. I think after seeing that, I mean, leads the league in total touchdowns. I got to throw him in there with C.J. Stroud, Dak Prescott, and Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could throw him in the conversation because there's going to be people, but I mean, like for me, it's clear that they're Dak and Hurts. Like if you're going to be on a 6-6 team right now, and you're leading the league in touchdowns, but those turnovers are going to haunt you in the MVP.
I don't even think it's the turnovers. I when I think about Josh Allen and I think about the acronym MVP, like how you just said about removing Jalen Hurts.
I mean,
bro, if you remove Josh Allen from the Buffalo Bills, they are a poor, terrible team right now.
Very true.
They rely on him to do way too much, which is why I think they kind of lost this upcoming matchup. But not to get too sidetracked, I did want to just throw this out there. So we got 4 names. I think that it could be Josh Allen, C.J. Stroud,
Can we throw
Dak
one more
Prescott,
dark horse
Jalen
out
Hurts.
there?
Yeah. Nah, I can't do it. Started too poor.
Dark horse.
Started
dark
way
horse.
too poor.
Dark horse, though. But I mean, like they've won what, 6 in a row, 5 in a row now, 6 in a row.
I can't do it with Russ. Not yet. Not yet.
Dark
Not
horse.
yet. He's playing good football though, and I like that Sean Payton has him on the right track. But I also think that like Russell Wilson is not the quarterback that's ideal for the situation for Sean Payton right now. He's making that work. I feel like.
Yeah, for sure. We can count fumbles too. We all fumble. Listen, when we talk here, we include all aspects.
Yeah,
okay?
whatever you want to throw in there. It don't matter to me.
There's no excluding stats when it comes to Authentic and The Beard, unless of course I'm pushing the anti-Cowboys pro Commanders narrative.
Well, give me what you saw in this game, man. I gave you a bunch of nuggets here. I know you.
I mean, one of the biggest things you touched on was the 10.3 yards per play. That was just it was brutal. There was some I was all this pushback I give Mike McCarthy, and I it's not necessarily against Mike McCarthy. It's more so just the situational with the Cowboys and feeling like they're underachieving since he's been head coach. But we were outcoached.
That's crazy. It sounds crazier today than it did 2 weeks ago.
We were completely outcoached in this game in every aspect of the game. And the thing that's crazy is it was literally 20-10, not only just at halftime, going to the fourth quarter. And one of the things I talked about in the preview show was I said that the Dallas can it's this like spurt of points, offensively, defensively, and it can happen like that. And you literally saw that on display in that game in that fourth quarter. It was 25 points in the fourth quarter, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And it's just when you're a team like the Commanders and you're as bad as you are, and you're playing against the Cowboys who are as good as they are, you have to be so on top of your game as a coach and as a player, right? Especially strategically. And there were moments in this game that, will be debatable amongst Commanders fans and NFL pundits alike, right? I didn't necessarily have a problem with them punting early in the game in Dallas territory. I look back on it and I think, would I have gone for it? If they would have went for it, I wouldn't have necessarily been upset. But I understand it being your first possession of the game, right? Like the last thing you want to do is give Dallas short field position on the first possession of the game, okay? And so, like, I can understand that one. The second one, maybe, you go for it. Your defense did stop them on the drive before that. So, that's something that I maybe you can give Ron Rivera and Bieniemy a little bit more, flack for not going for that one. But then it was like the tables completely turned, and that's what was crazy to me. First of all, the third down play call, 3rd and 1 play call, like a lot of times it's like, oh yeah, like, they throw the deep shot, you catch them off guard and this and that, man. Just run the damn ball, bro.
Oh, you talking about 3rd and 1 deep shots?
Yes, especially if you're gonna go for it on 4th down, just run it on 3rd down. Like, it make it easier for you on 4th down. And then the 4th down out of shotgun or pistol or whatever gun they want to call it. It's just, I hate, nothing grinds my gears more than shotgun 3rd and short. I understand, spread them out, and
I'm not too mad at it if you do it properly. Good RPO on 3rd and 1. You give yourself some options for your quarterback to roll out, maybe make a play.
Yeah, it just, for me, it's like if you're gonna hand the ball over, you're gonna hand the ball off from and you're gonna do it from shotgun versus under the center. To me, it just feels like you're putting your running back at a disadvantage by just being in shotgun, and just like it doesn't make sense to me personally. But like,
I hear you, but it in theory it makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Because now if you line up and you have your quarterback under center with your running back in the backfield, tight end in line, you're screaming, we're about to run the ball. And what do you think the linebackers are doing at that point? They're not taking a step back; they're taking a step forward.
And that's why I think a lot of people, say like, okay, well, it's good if you're in shotgun. You spread out the defense a little bit. You open up some more room for the play. But
during Ben McAdoo's like good year, we used to kill teams out of shotgun with the run. We would run that draw over and over and over again. We would kill teams with it. I understand both sides of the coin, though. Yeah,
exactly. But it just, for me, that sequence of events was just bad play calling on Bieniemy's part, that 3rd to 4th down. And it was just a weird 4th down call, too.
And the one other thing to add to that, right, to not overlook, especially for fans who might not notice, a lot of times it's not Eric Bieniemy going out there saying, yeah, we about to throw a fade route on 3rd and 1.
Yeah.
It's what the quarterback sees at the line, and that's the only matchup that is favorable. So they'll usually have a hot concept there where either you run a comeback route breaking back towards the quarterback like a hook or some kind of comeback, and sometimes it ends up being the fade. And when we get to that Bills game, we'll talk about that. You saw the play where in overtime, Gabe Davis on the hot route thought it was a comeback. Josh Allen thought it was a fade. He went through it deep. It would have been a touchdown, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. So you got to understand that circumstantially for the quarterback there, they're giving what the defense takes them at the same time too.
And just quickly, I see Kai in the chat asking if I think EB has tanked his stock amongst the NFL. I don't think so, not at all. I mean, listen, things are not easy in the NFL, right? And when you're a head offensive coordinator, right, and or even a head coach, and you're bringing an entirely new system into kind of like a tough situation because let's be honest, like new management, you know, basically a Walking Dead head coach in Ron Rivera, and you have a young quarterback and you have a bad offensive line. I think he's done a lot in my eyes with what he has. Has he had some growing pains? And I think a lot of that is magnified now when you're when you're coaching on a team like Washington where they're performing poorly, where it's probably not as magnified in Kansas City if he makes a couple of funny calls or bad decisions because they're winning Super Bowls, So for me, I don't think his stock has dropped in the NFL. I think there's obviously all the reports coming out right now of offensive players, who are excuse me, once again complaining about Eric Bieniemy's style of coaching, his aggressive nature as a coach, like a wow in your face sort of style, and a lot of players don't like that. Apparently, I think is horse crap if you ask me. Like I think a lot of these guys probably need that. So I'm still an Eric Bieniemy fan. Nothing has really changed for me. I'm going to stand by what I believed was the plan in the beginning, that Ron Rivera would be stepping down at the end of the year no matter what, and that Bieniemy would be the next coach in line. That's what I think is going to happen. So we're going to still see a lot of changes, obviously, in this organization moving forward. But as far as this game goes...
Now, wait, because I got to respond to that. His stock, it depends on what you're asking. Are we talking as an offensive coordinator or as a head coach? As a head coach, his stock is absolutely dropped because you can't forget, he didn't call plays in Kansas City. So he was masked by what was happening with Andy Reid the whole entire time. So people correlated the success with the Kansas City Chiefs offense with Eric Bieniemy as well. It wasn't quite the case like that with Mike Kafka coming to New York being a quarterback's coach because he never had the reign to call plays or anything like that. Now we finally get to see EB call plays in Washington. And you spoke about a lot of the things that he's working with that in the preseason, everybody looked at those things as positives, as bonuses. And now that you have lost, 8 out of your last 10 games, now it's starting to be like, oh, look what he's working with. I think he's working with superior talent than a lot of the teams in our division, at least. Wide receiver core came in this year. Everybody thought that was supposed to be one of your greater units with Jahan Dotson and with Terry McLaurin and with guys like Dommy Brown being able to fill the void of like a third wide receiver, a fourth wide receiver. Eric Bieniemy being a guy who literally was a candidate for a head coaching job I'd say like the last 5 to 6 seasons, at least. People were talking about this guy being the number one candidate and then people not hiring him. I think that we can't say not at all. His stock has definitely took a dive. It absolutely has not gone up.
No, I don't think it's gone up. But for me, I think a lot of people like the people that are Bieniemy believers, right? Like myself, and there's other people in the media and other people in the fan base, right? A lot of people think that Bieniemy as a coach, as a head coach, not necessarily calling the plays, is better than Bieniemy calling the plays as an offensive coordinator, because there are people that believe in his style of preparation, his style of getting into players and stuff like that. There are people that believe that he will be better fit for head coaching as opposed to play calling.
That's what you have right now in Ron Rivera, a guy who's not really hands-on. He's a defensive-minded coach. That's the difference between him and Eric Bieniemy, but he's a guy that's not hands-on. You're pretty much explaining to me Joe Judge. These guys who are just going to be there and to implement philosophy, but they're not having their hands on the game plan per se.
But I mean, I'm not saying he won't have his hands on the game plan, and there's no way we could compare Eric Bieniemy to Joe Judge, because Joe Judge was a special teams coach. Eric Bieniemy has been a offensive game planner. He's been a play call designer, a game plan designer. And he's won multiple Super Bowls.
The second point that you made about Eric Bieniemy, you could say that about Joe Judge. Your Super Bowls thing, Joe Judge came from New England, bro.
But as a special teams coach.
3 phases in football. And look, Joe Judge had more success his first season than Eric Bieniemy did with way more poorer talent. Way poorer talent.
But that's as a head coach. This is Eric Bieniemy as an offensive.
He's
coordinator.
an offensive coordinator. Yeah. And
so
you could use that as an excuse for sure. But a lot of the reason why you guys are struggling is obviously on the defensive side of the ball. But for me, if Eric Bieniemy is going to be the Washington Commanders head coach next year, I think that he should be the play caller and the offensive coordinator as well. We've seen that with a bunch of offensive-minded head coaches. Like, be hands-on. Like, I'm so over these defensive-minded head coaches or these coaches who are just there to be the rah-rah guy. Like, if things aren't going to work out for my New York Giants moving forward, Brian Daboll's absolutely got to go out here and call plays. I saw Emory Hunt talking about this on CBS right after the game. He said, we're seeing Eric Bieniemy call plays, but he isn't running an offense. That's what's happening over there with y'all. It's a guy who's looking at the play sheet going, oh, what should I call right now? But what is the philosophy of that team? There ain't one. There really is not one.
I will not argue with that at all. And like I said, it's I'm not saying that Eric Bieniemy has no flaws and hasn't made mistakes. You can go back and watch all of the episodes this year of Authentic and The Beard.
No, I'm only responding to you saying absolutely not, that his stock absolutely has not took a dive.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I said absolutely, but
you did. That's why I was like, hold on, I definitely got to chime in on this.
I don't think personally, I don't think that
and you said that the complaints from the players is horseshit.
Yeah,
like we don't know that.
Well, I mean, no. Listen, if you're a professional football player and you're mad because your coach is yelling at you.
Is it just that? I don't know. You heard the reports, not me.
Yeah,
So to me,
that's like, come on, man. Like, there's a lackadaisical vibe in Washington on the Commanders team, and I think that they're not reacting well to this new sort of coaching.
And I brought up Joe Judge because he had that same kind of hard-nosed coaching style. Tom Coughlin was another guy, and Michael Strahan talked about it. He hated Tom Coughlin those last couple of years. He's like, this dude's getting on me about missing out on camp, showing up 5 minutes early, and I'm late. Like, bro, you told me it's 6 o'clock. I'm here at 5:55 now. You got me running laps thinking I'm late. The big difference was when it worked, nobody's going to complain. But when you're losing football games, people might look at that approach and go, it's the wrong approach.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's you can't blame the players for that. Like, they're looking at this shit going like, yo, it's not working, and it's not working.
No, it's not working. The thing is when it's like this, though, there's a lot of stuff that's not working. And I think that it's so easy to point fingers at everybody, right? Like, I mean, yeah, Jack Del Rio got fired. I would have fired him a long time ago. It wasn't necessarily that he was doing a bad job, I think, but it was more so like there's so much damn talent on that defense that they just underachieved time and time again. And then, like, a lot of people will be, and I've heard you bring it up, like, well, they were a top 10 defense 2 out of the 4 years.
Yeah.
So, like,
you also know that Del Rio was the reason why y'all defense made a shift to being decent at all. Do you remember the years before Del Rio? Y'all ran the 3-4. You remember when they had Montez Sweat playing outside linebacker?
Well, that was Del Rio's first year.
No, it wasn't. It was the year before Del Rio got there. I was looking up all this stuff before we went on because I actually brought this up, and I wanted to bring this question up as well. Del Rio's the reason why the Commanders shifted to a 4-3 defense. He's the one that moved. Who was the aging edge rusher y'all had? Kerrigan.
Yeah.
Kerrigan was playing outside linebacker with Montez Sweat on the opposite side, and Del Rio's the one who implemented the 4-3 defense that moved them both in to be true defensive ends, and then he benched Kerrigan when Kerrigan was getting older, and that's when they brought in Chase Young, and they started Chase Young as a rookie. So he fixed things over there, right? To answer this question that's up here on the screen right now, like, I don't think it solves anything. And I do agree with you. If you're going to fire him, you should have been fired him, right? But, like, knowing that you're, like, in this limbo going into next year, these guys don't even know who's going to be the general manager, who's going to be the head coach next year, if anyone on the staff's even going to be there. So, like, Ron Rivera going in and firing Jack Del Rio, to me, that it was unnecessary. It was totally unnecessary because you get fired next.
Yeah, it was not what I expected, right? Like, we all know that none of these guys, the only person that may have been here next year is Bieniemy, right? But even Bieniemy nobody is safe in Washington right now, right? We all knew that going into the year. to answer the question, and no, it doesn't solve any of the Commanders' problems. It's one of those things where it's like, somebody's head got to roll. Right?
They're using him as a scapegoat.
Shout out to Paulie. The streets needed a body.
Yeah.
When they're on the field putting up 10.3 yards per play, eating turkey legs out of the Salvation Army can, the streets was gonna get a body.
The part that was so puzzling to me about this whole thing is that they gave you tank vibes before the trade deadline. And then you wait. These two games, right, where you lose to you lost to the Giants, and that wasn't the defensive coordinator's fault. Both losses to the New York Giants are strictly on your offense. Bro, we scored 7 points in the first half and finally got to another touchdown. You mean to tell me 14 points is too much for your offense to overcome?
No. I'm not disagreeing with you 100%, right? But I do think that defensively in the second game, I think you have to give some blame to the defense in the second game. But
Listen, let me tell you why that sounds absolutely ridiculous. Y'all turned the ball over 6 times on offense.
Yeah.
Bro, come on, dog. I ain't about to sit up here and let you just lie to the fan, bro. Like, listen, when you turn the ball over 6 times on offense, that's either
Tommy DeVito throw 3 touchdowns.
What do you expect when you turn the ball over 6 times and you're giving up great field position? What do you expect? You remember my statement after that game? I said you cannot win a game if you turn the ball over 6 times.
You can't. And you're right. You're right. That's why I said I'm not 100% disagreeing with you, but I just wanted to throw a little shade at the defense.
There should be 100% in agreement here.
Yeah,
Because let's peel it back. Because before the trade deadline, don't forget that the game against the New York Giants, the first game was week 7. The trade deadline was right after that, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Because I want to say y'all had Montez Sweat and Chase Young against Tyrod Taylor.
We did.
Right. So it's right before the trade deadline. So then you go into tank mode. You off your 2 of your best defensive players.
Two best defensive players. There's no other way of putting it.
And then you don't fire the coach and you put him. This is so crazy coming back from last season because it reminds me of the same debauchery that Taylor Heineke was dealing with. Taylor Heineke went out there. He won 5 of 6 games, right? You let him prep the whole goddamn meal to try to get y'all to go to the playoffs. He ties a game to the New York Giants. He loses a game to the San Francisco 49ers, and then you bench him and go to Carson Wentz, who stunk the joint up and gave you no opportunity to win the game or to make it to the playoffs. Fast forward to this season, you trade away your defensive coordinator's 2 best assets, but yet you hold him more liable to it in the 2 weeks after it, in games where you lost to a team that only scored 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns the second time. That does not make any sense. There's no philosophy to the way that they're going about business.
Nothing makes any sense. And I will not sit up here and try to make sense of it, okay? Because what you're saying is 1,000% true. Listen, Jack Del Rio should have been fired at the end of last year. We should have never. The thing that really bothered me, and this is what I talked about when they traded Montez Sweat and Chase Young, is that you invested so much in that defense between Allen, Payne, Sweat, Young. Drafting Emmanuel Forbes, right? Drafting Quan Martin, drafting Jamin Davis. And Kendall Fuller, and then you got, Cam Curl. It's just
talent.
You invested all of that into the defense, right? And this is the thing too, is like last year messed up so many people's minds. We were so naive about how dreadful that schedule was last year for the NFC East.
You and our fan base both.
There is every week that passes this year, I realize more and more how easy that schedule was and how it changed everything, right? For me. And so the thing is that the defenses looked good, right? Because you look at the offenses and the quarterbacks we were playing last year in comparison to this year, right? And if you look at it, it's almost like the 2 of the 4 years were spaced on the strength of schedule years, which is what's kind of interesting. So for me, you should have fired Jack Del Rio.
Yeah, because that is a good point, because 2020 was the year y'all went to the playoffs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Y'all won a division with 7 wins that year. Another overachieved. And that was on the back of your defense that year too.
Yeah.
I think
Overachieve and then
those woes
underachieve.
with your offense or with your defense this year, and then your offense kind of like being a facade, throwing the ball so much, going through these games where, you know, I looked up Sam Howell's game logs before we went on air, right? For one, he's leading the NFL with the 55 sacks, okay? But too many games look like this. This game that is happened, you know, on Thursday, and I want to pull up his numbers just so everybody could see his numbers as well. 28 of 44. The week before that, he had a pretty decent game against the Giants, 31 of 45. But then you look before that, 29 of 44, 29 of 45. Like, it's almost like Eric Bieniemy saying, like, I got to get to that 44. Got to get to them 44 attempts a game.
I almost feel like there's, like I said, I don't have. I wish I had answers. I really do. And we ran the ball.
I think the
27 times in this game, right?
It's just a little bit of smoke. The offense is making everyone around this organization think that the problem is really the defense when it's really a bad team. Like you look at Sam Howell's QBR on the year is 49.7. That's not it. That's really not good. Like Howell still leads the NFL right now in yards, completions, and attempts. He's got 50 more attempts than Josh Allen. He's got 116 more attempts than Dak Prescott, but he only has 404 more yards than Dak Prescott. Dak's averaging 33 attempts a game.
Yeah.
They're throwing the ball way too much.
Way more efficient. Yeah. I think that this is like beating a dead horse at this point now. Like we're week 12. It's all gone. It's all gone. There's no going back and trying to fix it now. You know, like to me, I'm like, is he just testing Sam Howell? Like, is this just a season-long test?
Wild. That would be wild.
It would
put
be,
your
right?
team in jeopardy to test the quarterback. You know, I think that would be wild. Which I love that you're bringing up these segments, because I had a couple of questions during this segment. And that makes me think about this one.
Man, I don't have an answer. Listen, if you were to ask me,
ain't got no answers.
I don't. This is tough, right? Like, I don't know. Like, for me, let me look at it like this. Because you have to understand the predicament that we're in as Washington Commanders fans, right? Like, I don't know how else to say it. Like, you're going to have basically the house is going to be cleaned. I don't care what anybody else says. We would be even more naive, but I mean, hey, listen, we are a fan base of naiveness, okay? So we would be even more naive to believe that this is not going to be a completely cleaned house event following the end of the season, right? So
all of it, you think secondary, Terry McLaurin, all that.
I don't
Logan Thomas for
I don't
sure.
know about. I don't think. I'm only speaking more so to front office and coaching staff, because it's very difficult. It's very difficult to do that in the NFL as opposed to other professional sports because of contracts and stuff like that. And so, but I wouldn't put it off the table. I think that at some point you have to look at. It's just not working with the way that we've built it, right? So, you know, like if you're going to be completely cleaning house and maybe even a possible rebrand, and then like, you know, maybe you deal Terry McLaurin and Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen. Like it's a possibility. I think anything is possible now at this point, right? I just do. Like we don't know. Do I think that Sam Howell has the ability to be a borderline? Now
that ain't the question.
Okay, is Sam Howell the Commanders' franchise quarterback? I think so. Yes.
So
is
you guys
he just
get a top
place?
5 pick? You want to bypass?
That's the problem. That's the big problem right there. You would be
chinks in the armor right now.
you would be doing the organization, the fan base, the brand a disservice if you did not explore an option in the draft at quarterback. But the problem is that you just don't know. Like,
yeah, and you know, this is what we do know. We got 2 top quarterbacks in this draft: Drake May, Caleb Williams. Okay, they're probably going to be drafted in the top 3 picks, right?
I'm not big on Drake May as everybody else is, though.
That's cool, but the consensus overall opinion right now is Drake May is going to either be the first or the second quarterback taken off the board.
That's
There's
crazy.
nobody out here saying J.J. McCarthy is going to go above Drake May.
I don't like
or
J.J.
anybody
McCarthy
saying Jaden Daniels is going to go above Drake May, who I do think Jaden climbed these charts these last couple of games. He's climbing these boards in a major way. But this is the question I'm trying to get to. You're not going to get one of those top 2 picks probably. So are you going to roll the dice on one of these other quarterbacks? You said it will be a disservice not to at least explore a quarterback. You're going to wait till the second round to try to get a quarterback? What would your approach be right now? Because I could tell you mine. For instance, for me, New York Giants, okay, we just signed our guy to $160 million. If the Giants are sitting at pick 5, I want Jaden Daniels all damn day long. All day. Joe Shane came out in that press conference just the other day, and he said we're going to go BPA. He's given all these insinuations and innuendos that they're going to roll with Daniel Jones. I don't want to hear none of that shit. Go get a quarterback. So this is why I thought this was such a good question for you, because your quarterback has been playing pretty damn decent. It's not like we're sitting up here saying Sam Howell's been shit in the bed playing terrible football. He's been playing pretty damn good football for a guy who hasn't even played 16 games. And it does make it difficult.
Because
but if you're the GM right now and the draft is right now, do you go get the quarterback with a top 5 pick, or do you get best player available? Do you go Marvin Harrison Jr., bring in another wide receiver talent for Sam Howell, build around him?
Right now, gun to my head. I roll with Sam Howell. I think I look at maybe moving back in the draft.
You don't take that. You don't take that Marvin Harrison Jr. pick at 5 right there.
I think about it. I really do. Listen. I love him, right? But
they trying to get you right.
To me, we need an offensive line badly, man. That's the one thing. Yeah. It's like, if I'm gonna roll with Sam Howell, right? My number one priority is making sure that we have the best offensive line possible. That to me is, I don't care about. Listen, I will roll with Jahan Dotson and Terry McLaurin if I know I have a top 5 offensive line, right? So for me, that's the route I'm going.
Y'all are probably like the 29th ranked line in the league, maybe like 26th right now. One player is not going to bump you up into being the top 5.
And that's why I said maybe we trade back, right? Because you got to think like this: we're going to be going into this offseason. We're going to have, I think it's like 80 to 90 million in cap space, right? We have 5 picks, I think, right now in the top 100. And then obviously, our pick is going to be pretty high right now. So for me, there's a lot at stake with possibility-wise. And it's going to be interesting because you're going to be bringing in a completely new front office, completely new coaching staff to work with this draft capital and this cap space, right? So there's a lot of interesting things that can transpire. For me, I feel like Sam on the rookie deal that he's on right now, with the existing talent, the draft capital, and the cap space, I feel like you could make a move. If for some, I don't think you could even fall into the second pick anyways, right? But it's difficult. I think that's where I would go. But I would not be mad if we went the direction that the specific direction that you spoke of, because I love that kid too. And I think that
Marvin Harrison Jr.? No,
LSU quarterback.
Jaden Daniels. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I love that kid too. And like I watch a ton of college football, and I especially the quarterback position, it's tough to pass on some of these guys, right? But the problem is like, I feel like if Sam Howell is playing worse, and you didn't see some of the like throws that he can make, and just like the poise, the mental difference. Like, you look at the way Sam Howell plays football versus the way that like Zach Wilson plays football, right? Like Zach Wilson coming out of college, you look at some of those college highlights, like he was fearless, right? Bro was like, he was business.
Yeah.
And he gets in the NFL and he looks like a kid. Like he looks like he just doesn't belong.
The problem with Zach Wilson was the timing. He was a good off-script quarterback, and when he had good time, he could make throws. But once you put pressure on him, he folds.
And I feel like with Sam, it's like, he has a bad game. Like, he doesn't seem phased. He comes back, and generally he's played well after a bad game. He has a horrible play. He comes right back out, and he's still he's going. Like he mentally, for me to have a guy that strong at quarterback is not something that's easily found. So I would build off of that. So it's a tough call though, and I just think that we're in such a purgatory right now that we just don't know what's gonna happen at the end of the season. So
I don't even think y'all are there. I think y'all are just bad.
Well, no, we're bad, yeah, but I'm just saying
years.
purgatory as far as we don't know what's going to happen with, because the new ownership, everything's going to be wiped, so we don't know what direction.
Yeah, I know.
Really.
I hear what you're saying, but purgatory is normally used for being stuck in a situation of being average, not being bad. That's why I brought that up. Like y'all.
Well, it just means stuck. Like you're not in either direction right now.
You're going to have a top 7 pick 1,000%. You're bad. And
Yeah,
even the years that y'all have been, let's say, average, y'all were bad. You guys won the division with 7 wins.
Yeah, we're bad.
So it's a bad team, I think. And like it reminds me a lot of what has happened in New York. And I feel like we're actually maybe a year and a half to 2 years ahead of y'all as far as the rebuild mentality. If Joe Shane could get his damn mind right and go out here and make the right moves.
I've been following your Joe Shane tweets lately.
Yeah, I had one today. I mean, it's just like, yo, people, like, listen, Joe Shane has told us a bunch of stuff in the offseason, and then he goes into the season and he does what he says. So I'm at the point now where I got to just believe what he says. For you guys, I just feel like the part where you might be stuck is like trying to commit to a quarterback who doesn't show you the characteristics that he's ever going to be elite. I don't think that Howell has those characteristics.
I feel like he does have those characteristics.
Yeah, it's like, well, that could be a whole show because to me, he don't have elite arm strength. He doesn't have elite arm talent. He doesn't have elite pocket presence and maneuver in the pocket. He's not elite with anticipation. Like, I don't know where you find an elite from.
Well, he's not elite now, but I feel like he has shown you instances of elite in all of those things that you just mentioned, just not
that's what I'm saying. I haven't seen that.
Okay.
I haven't seen elite arm strength. He can throw the ball probably 58, 60 yards. He's a good thrower of the football. I like the way he throws the ball. The one throw to me all year, and I've watched every damn snap of y'all's, was that one throw 2 weeks ago. The Diami Brown 3rd and 10 crosser route. Like it don't get no better than that. But dealing with Daniel Jones, I will say this, that I always used to be like, where are the highlights? Like where the throws where you be like, cool.
Sam Howell has 20 to 30 of those this year.
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to put that together for me because I've been watching the games and
that's cool.
He throws a decent fade ball. There's never a time where I see a throw like what Justin Herbert did against the New York Giants last year before the half. Roll right, throw it 50 yards on a dart back to his left across his body. He doesn't throw off platform at all, actually. So that's another thing that I think is not elite. But I know you're invested. It's going years down the line. You're going to be like, you were saying these things. This guy doesn't show you he's elite, but he's a good quarterback. I think you can get by with that. But for me, the ceiling looks a good bit like Kirk Cousins now, like right now, which is good. But even still, what are the Minnesota Vikings always complaining about? We're in quarterback hell. We're in quarterback purgatory. We're stuck with this average, mediocre type of thing, which I think that Kirk Cousins is a bit above that. But
how many elite quarterbacks are there in the NFL, man?
6 probably right now. 7 if you include Aaron Rodgers being, healthy. There's about 7 of them. Like I would go Lamar Jackson. I would put Justin Herbert in that category, although he's failed in the big moments lately. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts for sure. Aaron Rodgers.
We're putting Dak in there.
I think Dak's right on the cusp of it. Dak Prescott's got a quarterback. You know exactly what you get.
Yeah.
You know exactly what you don't got to worry about Dak Prescott going out there throwing 3 and 4 interceptions, turning the ball over 6 times again. You don't got to worry about that. and Grant, we've never really had to worry about that with Dak, but he was thrusted into a really good situation his rookie season, and I think that Sam Howell was put in a pretty decent situation. Like it's not an awful situation. It's pretty good,
It's just the offensive line has just been bad. Especially
the reason why I brought up the Giants so much during that is like I know what it's like to just be sitting there waiting for things around your quarterback to prove to you that he's your quarterback. And those are the things that I don't quite see.
The big difference between this situation and the Giants is, like the time frame of the Daniel Jones waiting versus Sam Howell's played not even a full season yet. You know what I'm saying?
It's like rewinding Daniel back to his rookie year pretty much. And I hate to say this, but Jones showed more promise than Howell did in his rookie year, I think.
debatable, but I wouldn't necessarily like jump out and disagree with you on that because that
Jones had
Jones
the
first
running
year
capability.
was yeah.
You know, he could throw the ball.
It's been too many down moments and like really, really down moments in Sam's first year that you didn't really see that same sort of down with Daniel Jones. It was more like this and then up. And then
the turnovers. Don't forget the turnovers.
Turnovers, yeah.
He had 12 interceptions, 19 fumbles.
Sam's had 2 really
lost.
horrible turnover games, but then outside of that, he's been what you have pointed out and have been spot on with is that turnover a game sort of situation. You know?
Yeah. And Jones was kind of a 1 touchdown a game kind of guy. You know, whereas Howell is not that. Howell will give you these 2-3 touchdown performances, these 300-yard performances like all the time. But anything else you want to go over with this game? Did you want to get to the roadmap or anything?
Listen, we were catching the bus, and the bus did not come.
And it was cold as shit like it is today now in DC.
Doug, we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We went 0 for 7 on the roadmap. We didn't hit one thing on the roadmap.
Y'all didn't hit one thing?
Not one thing.
That's terrible.
So
what was the 31-17 thing you were talking about?
Well, hold Dallas to 17 points or score 30. I gave myself double X's on that. Because and just briefly, hold Dallas to 45% on third down. They converted 60% on third down. Sacked Dallas 4 times. We didn't get one damn sack. Dallas have 9 penalties. They had 7. Forced 2 turnovers, not one damn turnover. Rushed for 160 yards. We ran for 108. Just nothing. Yep. Like it was so specific because Dallas is such a good team in comparison to Washington that you had to have these sort of specific outcomes in order to win the game.
I like what you said right there. I know a Dallas Cowboys fan in the chat right now feeling like, getting some flowers from the beard one time.
Listen, man, it's bad now, and there's no like holding on to hope. For me, it's just I will always want my team to win, so I will always root for them to win the rest of the season. But I like to just see some of the development of Sam Howell, some of the other young players. Hopefully, I'm really interested to watch Emmanuel Forbes, Jamin Davis, and some of the other young guys. Quan and KJ, these rookies, and see how they perform defensively without Jack Del Rio, and seeing if there's any difference there. That's pretty much what I'm looking for now at this point. Because I just. Listen, is there a chance you make the playoffs? A chance at hell, yeah, but
no, there's no chance y'all make the playoffs.
We're not mathematically eliminated.
There's no math that's gonna math y'all into the playoffs.
Big shout out to Tuto with a $4.99 super chat. Says massive salutes and respects to Awthentik and The Beard #1 and all diehard Giants fans in America, and all Dallas Cowboys are falling and ain't getting up no mo. And we say, forget about it. Fist pump Italy.
Salute to the homie Tuto. He back to back on him one time.
Big shout out to Tuto.
Touchdowns from Dak Prescott.
$4.99 super chat says saluti massaci a tutti ai partecipanti alla conversazione se ricandante. Io ho detto prima c'è solo gli italiani insiano capaci. Fist pump Italy.
Yo, it sounded like you read like 40 more words than was on the screen just now. Yo, big shout out to Tuto, man.
Let me know how I did on that, Tuto.
I'm gonna give you a 6. I'm gonna give you a good 6 out of 10 on that. Wasn't too bad.
I'll take that. I'll take that on my Italian. Appreciate that, Tuto. And listen, look, big shout out to our guy Patrick Mahomes. We appreciate you stopping by in between, Allstate commercials and State Farm commercials and
State
football.
Farm, yep.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming by. And says Deron Bland has more touchdowns than a lot of players. Also, Beard, I'll trade you Valdez Scantling and a stick of butter for his hands for Terry McLaurin.
That drop
we have
crazy.
A deal. I think I'm going to pass on that deal. That's no go for the Beard. But I appreciate you stopping by, Patrick.
Horrible.
Thank you, bud.
Yeah, we appreciate you, my homie. Appreciate you donating to the channel, man. That definitely means a lot, brother. All right, so you ready to go into this New York Giants, victory?
Yeah, I feel like that was a productive conversation right there.
Oh yeah, no Giant overreaction on Monday. We got to go in today. Got to do this proper, man. Get the people what they want here, man. And talk about these games in length. So let's get to the Patriots here, man. They traveled to MetLife to take on my New York Giants.
Giants are on the board with 11:16 to go here in the third.
This was a real chill, cool out, slow burner type of game by my New York Giants, man. The Patriots are now 2-9. New York Giants sitting at 4-8. We got a little bit of playoff hope still alive out there for the gang. Y'all know what it is, man. Giants win this one 10-7. The Patriots were favored by 3.5. The over-under was 33.5. We is not going to get there. All right, the Giants beat the Patriots at home for the first time since Awthentik was a young 4-year-old way back in 1987 in November. The Giants improved to 4-8 and moved into third place in the NFC East. That puts the Beard's Commanders down at the bottom of the division. Patriots 2-9, looking like they're going to get one of those top 2 draft picks right now. Bill Belichick just coached his 423rd game for the Patriots. Y'all have lost 8 of y'all last 10. The Patriots have lost 7 of their last 8 games. The Giants hadn't won consecutive games all year. Big shout out to the gang. We get back-to-back victories for the first time all year. This Giants defense, I was looking for like a good adjective, like how to explain this defense. Is this defense, top 15? Is this defense really good? I don't know what you could call this defense, but you can't call them bad. That's one thing. You cannot call this defense bad. Won the turnover battle for the second straight week. We had 3 interceptions on the day in this one. Deonte Banks, Bobby O, Xavier McKinney each had an interception in this one. The Giants led at halftime 7-0. It was the third time this season that we held opponents scoreless in the first half. One game was against the Buffalo Bills, another game against the New England Patriots on Sunday. The other game was against the Washington Commanders. The Giants defense has forced 34 3-and-outs this season. That's second best in the NFL right now. Xavier McKinney.
Good stat.
That's a really good stat. It's
a
great nugget, yo. Shout out to the nugget department. Xavier McKinney, 91.7 PFF grade. So it seems like things kind of got back on track in the locker room. Brian Dable, allowed Xavier McKinney to break us down after that win 2 weeks ago. And Xavier McKinney has been playing well since. That's second among all safeties this week. And this was a battle of 2 of the worst offenses in the NFL. Saquon was definitely a non-factor in this game. I didn't even put down his stats. I think he had like 40-something yards, nothing too crazy. Combined, these 2 teams were averaging just 5 more points per game than your Commanders. That's something good for you right there, okay? Combined. Both of these teams' offenses combined, okay? Averaging just 5 more points than the Commanders were averaging on the season. Now, the Giants punted the ball 5 times in the first half. This game was like getting really ugly, and I was like, man, we really going to let the New England Patriots hang around and beat us with Mac Jones, struggling Mac Jones. Patriots had 4 punts in the first half, 2 interceptions. Patriots' longest play of the day was a 19-yard pass from Mac Jones to Devontae Parker. The Giants had just 155 total yards at the half. New England wasn't that much better with 169 at the half. And then we came out for the second half, and Mac Jones was benched. Now, y'all were averaging 5 yards per play. Mac Jones was averaging 3.9 yards per pass on the day. He was 12 of 21 for 89 yards in the first half with 2 interceptions before they ended up benching him for the day.
He still was their leading passer, though.
It's crazy. And me and the Beard was talking about Mac Jones before we got on air, and I feel bad for Mac Jones. I don't think that he is as poor of a quarterback as he is putting out there in his performances. I think that Mac Jones is suffering from, the environment that the New England Patriots have surrounded him with, but also he's not the kind of quarterback that's going to be able to dig himself up out of that kind of a hole. Like, Mac Jones is probably the last quarterback in the NFL who has, let's just say it like this. If he was in Madden as a creative player, his agility is probably like 32. His speed probably like a 41. His quickness probably like a good 20.
Let me ask you
He's not getting away from no defenders.
2 rapid-fire questions. First one, do you think I could beat Mac Jones in a 40?
No.
Damn. Okay.
Definitely not.
You taking Sam Howell and Mac Jones? I don't think
as a quarterback right now, I'm going Sam Howell all day long, especially with where they're at in their careers and whatnot. I don't think you could finish a 40 right now. I'll keep it real with you. I think if you go full speed,
I think it's going to pop something.
Yeah, coming up looking like Kenny Galladay out there, Jones, straight up and down. But I want to pull up some stats here from the man of the hour. I'm gonna say he the junior. He's the junior man of the hour one time. Tommy DeVito out here, man, putting some good tape out there for sure, man. He was 17 of 25, 191 yards, 103.9 quarterback rating. It's a little fugazi, man. When you start looking at QBR, it's puzzling to me that somebody could have such a high QB rating and then their QBR be just completely pathetic. It makes no sense. But DeVito ended up hitting Hodgins for the first touchdown of the game. It was a nice little inside comeback route. And that was with a minute 53 left in the first half. In 5 appearances this year, Tommy DeVito, 8 total touchdowns, 3 interceptions. His QBR on the year. You want to take a guess what his QBR? I mean, this is a solid game, 103.9, right? What do you think his QBR on the year was?
So QBR or quarterback rating?
The quarterback rating
Passer
for his
rating
game is on the screen.
QBR.
Okay, that's 103.9.
I'd
which
say
is graded on a scale.
89.
Hold on one second, so I could fill people in. Which is graded on a scale of 158, right? QBR is graded on a scale to 100. So you sure you sticking with that answer you just said?
I will not stick with that answer. I'm going to go with 73.
His QBR on the year is 14.9.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so that goes to show you that, like, rating literally just goes off the stats, yards, touchdowns, all that good stuff, right? QBR is digging into the situational type of plays that are happening. And Tommy DeVito he's a third-string undrafted rookie free agent quarterback, okay? The story is good, Giants fans. I'm cool with it. This is not making me jump out my seat on Sundays, okay? I like Tommy DeVito.
This is, right?
Not even, bro. It took me like 3 weeks to even understand what he was doing. I thought he was just like doing like this or something. And then all my Italianos in the New York Giants community and in the fan base had to like hit me up. Like,
I've been watching the John Gotti series on Netflix, and every time I watch the first 2 episodes, all I could think of is Tommy DeVito.
Tommy DeVito, man. You know, I'm happy for the kid. You know, maybe he's worked himself into a backup job at some point.
100%, man. He's not no Ben DiNucci.
He isn't a Ben DiNucci. Who was the other quarterback the Cowboys signed at that time? It was Ben DiNucci and Gilbert.
Yeah, what's eating Gilbert Grape? He played for a game.
He was
for
the one
Commanders.
that was really worse. And I think that like the Ben DiNucci narrative is from Gilbert Grape kid a little bit.
I don't know, man. Ben DiNucci looked pretty bad, but
Ben DiNucci was bad, but Gilbert was worse. Gilbert
I
was
saw
the
Ben
quarterback that was
DiNucci
awful.
play live against the Defenders for the Seattle Sea Dragons or whatever their name is. But yeah,
How'd he do in that game?
He looked pretty good in XFL. Just too many turnovers, man. Too many turnovers.
Yeah, and that's definitely the key to Tommy DeVito's game. You know, in these days, is he's not turning the ball over. I mean, that's number one for him. And to me, that's like, okay, like, not turning the ball over is cool, right? But when you throw touchdowns, it's really cool, okay?
Yes. Yeah.
And, like, you can't just go out here and just not turn the ball over and a bunch of 3-and-outs and all that. I mean, he wasn't sustaining drives a lot throughout the day, but he had a good day. He had a couple of big plays, too. But the QBR, 14.9, he's been sacked 28 times in 5 games. That's damn near 6 times a game. I put on my notes here, cool story, bro. Because that's how I feel about Tommy DeVito. It's a good story, man. It's a good story. I like Tommy DeVito. I'm rooting for him, you know, for the rest of the year. And it's good to see him go out here and lead our team to some victories. Now, I want to talk about the man of the hour, which is Jalin Hyatt, man. Jalin Hyatt had a huge day. 5 receptions for 109 yards. He had receptions of 22, 29, and 41. And on the 41-yarder, Tommy DeVito, I will give him his props on this. The way he stepped up in the pocket, shout out to Dan Snyder and Nick Foletto. They broke this down. I saw this on their Twitter. The way he maneuvered and stepped up in that pocket to then just let go of that ball downfield and put an absolute dime on Jalin Hyatt was pretty damn impressive. I'd say it's his most impressive throw of the season. Last time the New York Giants had a 100-yard wide receiver in a regular season game, it was also a rookie. You want to take a guess?
Darius Slayton.
Wan'Dale Robinson, just last year.
Yeah.
The Giants went 18 regular season games without a 100-yard receiver. They did have a 100-yard receiver in the playoffs against Minnesota with Isaiah Hodgins. He had a hell of a game in the playoffs against Minnesota. But outside of that, we had one 100-yard game last year, and it came from Wan'Dale Robinson in the game where he tore his ACL.
That's right.
Yeah, and this game kind of came down to the wire. The Giants punted the ball with about 3 minutes left in the game. Gave the Patriots their best field position of the day on the 50-yard line. Okereke missed the interception that he had on 3rd and 4, which could have ended the game. The Patriots end up going for it on 4th down. They end up converting. They get themselves set up for a chip shot. 35-yard field goal to force overtime. And I'm just like getting ready for overtime. I texted the homies over at Bleacher Report on the production team. I'm like, if we go to overtime, y'all want me to wait on the stream? Kick goes up. It's wide. Giants win the game 10-7. And I normally don't do this, but big shout out to the special teams department, man. Special teams was on fire in this game. Kickoff team was extremely good. I don't know if you saw the hit. I didn't even know Carter Coughlin was still on the team.
I saw the hit, all right.
Man, he leveled Ty Montgomery on that kickoff.
That was old school. That was old school football hit right there. Clean.
Yeah, that was a nice hit. Good form tackle.
Yep.
The one from Cam Brown a couple of kicks later, that one wasn't so clean. He clotheslined that dude.
I saw the clothesline
Douglas.
too, man. That was XFL, man.
Put him out the game. I think he left the game with a concussion. He never came back. Jamie Gillen, the Scottish Hammer, he had a 74-yard punt late in the first quarter, tied for the Giants' second longest punt in 59 years. So all in all, 3 phases in this game. I think the Giants played a really good game. Considering the personnel, no Dexter Lawrence in this game. That really worried me. I thought that we were for surely going to have problems stopping the run. They did a decent job of stopping the run.
Can we talk about Isaiah Simmons though, man?
I was about to throw it to you, man. All for you, bro.
Hey, man, big shout out to Isaiah Simmons. I think, listen, sometimes you make these mid-season moves, these plays, right? And a lot of times people expect them to be like these sort of big, impact on like a team that's making a playoff push, right? Because a lot of times people who are acquiring players are doing so, to make that push. But I remember when that happened, I immediately texted Awthentik and was like, dude, this is because I was a huge Isaiah Simmons fan when he was coming out of college, just because I love that versatility in a player, right? And, rest in peace to Sean Taylor. He, just that anniversary was yesterday of his passing. And, he was one of those guys that was just like the range that he had for his size and just like, it's just something you don't see quite often. But I always thought Isaiah Simmons had this versatility about him where he could play multiple different positions and he had that ability. It's just good. And it was a tough because it wasn't like he was playing bad in Arizona, but you know how many times have we talked about on this show about sometimes it just doesn't work for a certain player in a certain situation, right? Sometimes they just need a new scenery. And I think that Isaiah Simmons just looks like he's playing football in a different way again. And I just wanted to give him a shout out because, he's made a couple of big plays since being over there. I think he's going to be playing a bigger role now. With the injuries that the Giants defense has kind of suffered here recently. So
Micah McFadden did come back in the game, though. So he saw some snaps at linebacker this week, but Micah did come back in the game. I mean, I like Isaiah. I think last week was the week to really be talking about Isaiah Simmons.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I gave him a shout out then, too. But, I mean, he got another pick, so I felt like,
I think he's been
a good role player.
He's been all right. I wouldn't even call him a role player because first 4 or 5 games he got over, he was barely getting snaps.
Yeah, but
and they did acquire him before the season started. I think that was right before the season started that they acquired Isaiah Simmons because I was still making the short format videos at that point in time.
But I like Isaiah Simmons. I'm an Isaiah Simmons fan, so I want to give a shout out to Isaiah Simmons. Okay?
Yeah, I like it. You went a little egregious with the Sean Taylor stuff.
I just wanted to. I was just linking some things together because yesterday was the anniversary of Sean Taylor, and
his versatility I think has been his weakness. To be honest, you can't find a place to put him. He's not really a linebacker. He's not really a safety. Even when you saw him get the interception on Logan Thomas against the Commanders, it was like that don't look like a DB. And then when you see him coming up trying to stop the run, you're like, that don't quite look like an edge rusher, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't quite look like a linebacker. So I think it kind of hurts him. But I do think that Isaiah Simmons can be a piece moving forward. I just don't know how well he fits in this Wink Martindale defense. But, last couple of weeks definitely has been shining.
Yeah, it's and I think that this is the other thing too, is like, I guess I noticed that, like what Marjorie's saying, it's like he just seems happy again, like he's playing football with a different sort of passion. But to use that as another transition here is just that one of the things I talked about was that the Giants were going to have to take advantage of turnovers and force the turnovers. I thought they did a good job with that. Obviously, I think they had 3 total turnovers from the Patriots in this game. So I thought that was really good. You talked about
I think they got 0 points off the turnovers too, which is
I feel like I was looking at it, and I think
because first half we scored 7, but I know we had 2 interceptions in the first half. I don't think the first touchdown was off the interception.
I was looking
at the first drive, man. You're reminding me about the first drive. You get the big play to Jalin Hyatt, and then you fumbled. Wanda Robinson fumbles a jet
sweep. The fumble
sweep.
killed them.
What the hell is going on with these Giants, man?
It's the defense, though. Obviously, they did their thing, man. New England's offense is horrible, right? It is.
Yeah.
But what you're supposed to do against a horrible offense is hold them to 7 points in a game and force 3 turnovers. And I thought that the Giants did that, and that's why they won this game. And obviously, you get a little luck with the missed field goal at the end of the game, but everybody needs one of those in the NFL. It's just the way that the cookie crumbles. Saquon didn't have a crazy game, but he was averaging 4.3 yards per carry in this game. So and just the Jalin Hyatt obviously is just this is kind of what you've been talking about, what we've been talking about, the Giants using him over this whole course of this year is his big play capability. And I mean, you know the numbers on each reception. It just goes to show you what was the averaging per reception in this game. 20 yards.
I think he had 4 receptions for 109. So yeah,
five catches for 109 yards. Yeah. So basically 20.2 yards per catch. I mean that's what you want out of him. So it's just. Sure. It's going to be fun. I mean, you guys got some winnable games here coming up, so it'll be fun for you guys. And I think everybody's kind of – listen, the biggest thing that Tommy DeVito has done, and yes, cool story, bro, fantastic note. Big shout-out to Awthentic, okay? And
yeah, it's a cool story.
Okay? Yeah, it's a cool story. But this is the difference between the Giants and the Commanders, amongst obviously a lot of other things we're not going to get into too deep. But Tommy DeVito has brought – It's not as bad right now, right? Like you don't feel as bad about where you are, right? Like if you look at some of the highlights from the game, the players, everybody's doing this, and the fans seem a little bit more excited. It's not just this. God damn, I gotta go watch my Giants play football again. You know what I'm saying? Like it's giving you a little bit of a Taylor Heineke story, to kind of run with here and through tough times. Whereas with us, it's just like. It's just dreadful right now. So, sometimes you got to take the silver linings. And I think that's what you got to do with Tommy DeVito and the Giants right now.
I saw that, I forget who it was. Somebody asked this earlier in the chat about why when you spike the ball, it's not intentional grounding.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good question.
It's a very good question.
Yeah, so I had to look it up.
I did not have an answer for that.
They designed the rule that's why you have to spike the ball from underneath the center. You can't spike it from shotgun. So that they designed that specifically for teams to be able to stop the clock. And even though they're not throwing it to a receiver, if you take the snap from underneath the center, you can spike it into the ground. And Brother L dropped a super chat. I think you'll enjoy this one.
Big shout out to Brother L for $4.99 super chat. I saw this one come through, and I said to my mind, how am I going to do this? I'm going to do this because I got nothing but love. Brother L said, just need to hear how about them Cowboys. One time from the man with the big beard and even a bigger heart. Salute to the legends, Awthentik and The Beard. Salute to you, Brother L. We appreciate you as always, my guy. That tone change was so crazy.
So you going to say it?
I just said it. I read it.
I didn't. Oh, you read it. Okay.
Yeah.
See how he do you, Brother L? You see how he do?
That's how he threw it in there because he wanted me to read it. How about them Cowboys? You know what I'm saying?
They was looking for that clip it up moment to put you on Twitter one time. Nah, shout out, Brother L, man. We appreciate you supporting the channel, fam. Oh man, so there's a couple of other topics we must talk about in this one, and let's start with this one because Joe Schoen, Brian Dable, they had a press conference on Monday. And they said a couple of things that a lot of Giants fans are definitely not going to want to hear. I'm going to read off some of these quotes from this press conference from Joe Schoen. Joe Schoen says, we don't have a crystal ball in terms of how the rehab's going to go, but the expectation moving forward is that Daniel Jones is going to be the starting quarterback. He said, the expectation is when Daniel is healthy, that he will be our starting quarterback. I think we're going to have to do something on the quarterback, whether it's free agency or the draft, speaking about him not being ready for the year. Tyrod's contract is up. DeVito is obviously under contract, and Daniel, we don't know when he's going to be ready. So just from an off-season program standpoint, I think that'll be a position that we'll have to look at. There are different avenues, free agency or the draft, but we'll have to address it at some point.
It sounds like a Beard sort of answer there.
And I get it. You're trying to kind of keep things a little bit masked. We're still in the middle of the season and whatnot, right? But to me, this is my opinion. Joe Schoen has been a guy that what he says is what he does. He's not the guy that says, hey, man, Josh Rosen's our guy and then goes and drafts Kyler Murray. That's not his style so far from what I've seen in his tenure as the general manager of the New York Giants. Now, do you think, I'll start with you, do you think that the Giants are doing themselves a disservice by committing to a healthy Daniel Jones?
1,000%, yes. Listen, I defended Daniel Jones. Not necessarily defended him because I think I was always a realist with him. I thought he was good and he had potential. But listen, the dude's got 2 neck injuries, a torn ACL. He can't throw for more than 2 touchdowns in back-to-back games. You've seen the difference with all the same players with how he's performed. And this isn't his rookie year, his second year, his third year. I mean, dude,
he's on year
the
5.
writing is on the wall. Daniel Jones and New York Football Giants are not going to work.
Now, let's say the Giants, right now they have the 6th pick in the draft. Let's say you get that 6th pick, and Joe Schoen even mentioned, our goal is to take the best players available, whether that be a quarterback or whatever other position it is, right? If they don't draft a quarterback in this draft, what do you think the tenure for Joe Schoen will be like after this if they don't push towards a chip? You think got one more year of Daniel Jones? Do you think he'll live to see the end of Daniel Jones' contract if he commits to Daniel Jones?
No. I mean, I don't have a crystal ball, as Mr. Shane would say, but but I mean, for me, it's just I don't know. I just think that it's not going to work. The problem is there's not. The team that has been built is not suitable for Daniel Jones to succeed in. Another quarterback, possibly. The big problem is that they shot themselves in the foot. They should have listened to Awthentic. They should have just signed Gardner Minshew and just called it a day.
Don't put that juju on me, Beard.
But they shot themselves in the foot, man. And listen, I don't think Daniel Jones is a bad quarterback at all, right? I just think he's an average quarterback. And right now, the rest of your team is not good enough to win with an average quarterback.
That's facts. Now,
that's the problem.
Let me ask you this, too. Where do you think, right? What's the latest round Joe Schoen could draft a quarterback and save face? If he drafts one in the third.
Face, he doesn't have to even hit on the quarterback. He just has to draft a quarterback.
He can just be like, yo, I drafted him, bro. You guys want a quarterback, I got the quarterback.
Third round.
I'm going to say second round. I'm going to say second. If you wait till the third round to draft your quarterback, man.
Okay, but what happens if listen, this year we're doing draft, okay? Because I want to be there. I want to be on. I need to let people know, you know what I'm saying? The draft guru is in the building, okay? So listen.
I'll be here. I do be here.
Listen, because there's a chance. There's always a guy that drops, right? So the reason why I say third round is there's a chance that somebody falls out of the second round, right? And then, you move up and you grab that guy with the first pick in the third round, right? Something like that sort of scenario, right? If you do wait to the third round, you have to make a splash with that third round pick or make a move to get the quarterback. Then it makes it look like you really care, right? But if you do it,
then it makes it look like you really care.
So that's where I would go with that.
All right, I can dig that. You trade up. I would like to see them utilize that first pick. If let's say we're at 6, you could get BPA right there, but then I'd like to see them trade back into the first round and get one of the other talents later in the first round.
Like what Washington did when they got Montez Sweat.
Yeah,
that's exactly
I would be down
what
for that.
they did.
Jump up to if you could jump into the top 15 with another pick, that would be amazing. Because then you really got a pick of some good quarterbacks there. The one guy that I'm kind of like puzzled on as far as where his draft stock going to be is Michael Penix Jr. Like, is he going to be a top 10 guy or is he going to be a second round guy? I really can't really
see. That's the thing too. Is that like with the way that this stuff works now, like everything that you know about quarterbacks in college right now coming out, all of that changes when the college football season is over. All of it changes again. But this is the thing, too. A lot of people forget, right?
To an extent.
There's some
games are going
stuff.
to help a lot of these quarterbacks.
So this is the thing that changes a lot, too, right? So you'll have these conference championship games this upcoming weekend, right? But after that, there's no college football, right? For let's say, a majority of these quarterbacks that people are going to be talking about. There's no college football played for an entire month.
Yeah.
Right? And so unless you're playing it in the college playoffs, you're only got one more game left. Then you'll have the Senior Bowl and stuff like that. But then after, so like that's it. So now you're moving into combine, pro day, private workouts, stuff like that. And then you're going to start getting the stories and the characters and the Wonderlic test and all that crap, right? So there's going to be a lot of different things that will come out between now and the draft, actually. But I like Michael Penix a lot. I like him a lot.
Penix is a solid quarterback. The only, asterisk is the injuries. 2 ACLs, shoulder injury. That's all people are concerned about. I think Jaden Daniels is the same exact thing. It's like they love this kid's skill set, but he don't got the NFL body yet. I don't think any of them, their draft stock's going to tank though or anything like that coming up. I think we know who they are now. They've played enough games. A lot of these guys have played multiple seasons in college. This isn't a Dwayne Haskins type of situation where you going off of a what was my guy's name? Trey Lance type of situation where it's 1 year. It's not that. These guys have played ball. Caleb Williams, he was a Heisman Trophy winner a year ago. This dude has put up massive numbers. Drake May, 2022, might have had the best quarterback season we've seen out of any quarterback in this whole draft class. These other guys is really just, are they going to come out? Is Cam Ward going back to school? Is he going to transfer? Is Shadur Sanders going to come out? Is he going to transfer? Michael Penix, he's the one guy that I really can't put a finger on yet and be like, he's going in this round. It reminds me a lot of Anthony Richardson, who we didn't know Anthony Richardson was going to be a top 10 draft pick until just a couple of weeks leading up to the draft and whatnot. But I do think it is going to get interesting, and I do think that the Giants in particular, they 1,000% have got to go out here and get the damn quarterback. That's absolutely what it is.
Yeah. Big shout out to Independent Outsider for the Foda, 99-cent super chat. Says, right now, pre-draft, who's the better team, Bears or Giants? I can see the Bears breaking out and being a playoff team first, but if the Bears can get Caleb, wow.
I think that they're pretty even, the two teams, because if the Giants were healthy, they're a better team than the Bears right now. The Bears just got their quarterback back. You saw it last night. He has trouble seeing the field. He has trouble holding on to the ball. Fumbles have been an issue with Justin Fields his entire career. And closing out games is a problem for that kid. He had 2 opportunities to close out that game. One of them was on a first down run. He literally had the lane. His blocker did kind of get in his way, kind of messed up his angle. He stepped into the pressure, got hit, fumbled the ball, came back, fumbled it again. It's like those kind of things can't happen. They have more talent on the Chicago Bears team, though, but our coaching staff gives us a little bit of a one-up. I think the Giants, even right now, not healthy, I still think we're the better team than the Bears are right now, but the Bears can get right faster. They got a ton of talent over there. They got their wide receiver 1. They got a guy in Darnell Mooney who can play that wide receiver 2. I don't know what's going on with Chase Claypool. I didn't even see him on the field last night, I feel like, but he's a guy as well.
I thought he got cut. He got cut. He's been gone a long time.
Did they cut him?
Yeah, he's like practice squad for the Dolphins now or something like that.
You're right about that. Claypool did go to the Dolphins, and he wasn't practice squad. He dressed for a little while, actually. Yeah. He did dress. It's crazy because they traded a second-round pick to bring him over. That's just Pools, you got some work to do over there. You got Komet at tight end. You have decent running backs over there, right? With Khalil Herbert. Who's the other kid? Roshan Johnson's really not too bad either. And I feel like they got a third running back over there.
Your boy, Foreman.
My boy, Dante. Come on, Dante Foreman. That's my guy right there. So they got talent. Defensively, they spent all that money on those guys over there. They got Edmonds, Johnson, that corner. Brisker. They got ballers over there. So they could get right a lot faster. But I do think right now, the way that the teams are just playing, Giants are playing better football than them right now. And I think a lot of that's with our defense.
Just because
Montez Sweat, we can't go without talking about Montez Sweat either, who was all over the damn field last night.
He's so good, man. Just because they draft Caleb Williams doesn't mean anything either. Like, I just want to make sure that everybody understands that. Like, you look at C.J. Stroud, right, and you look at what the Texans are doing, but then look at Bryce Young and look what the Panthers are doing. Bryce Young's not a bad quarterback. That's not Bryce Young.
I'm not here with you on this take at all. There's no talent around Bryce.
Yeah,
that's why
I
he
know
stinks.
that.
The Bears got hella talent. Talent. Listen, if you took a quarterback who's any good that can read defenses, that team is going to be putting up points.
But what do we really know if Caleb Williams goes to the Bears that he's going to be any better than Justin Fields?
Yeah, he will be 100%. Justin Fields.
But you don't know that.
Verdict,
You think
that? We do know that. No, we know that. Look,
I don't know about that.
You don't know because you have not looked at Justin Fields' tape like I have. I've looked at every one of that kid's snaps. He has a serious issue. He's the worst quarterback in two categories in the NFL. Reading the field and anticipating the throw, and he has the worst drop back of any quarterback in the entire league. And this is coming from the person who told you that he was going to have a breakout year this year. Caleb Williams, listen, he's going to go over there. Look, generational talents like that don't come into the NFL and fail.
Are we really sure that Caleb Williams is a generational talent?
Do you want me to pull up? I did a whole stream on this on Bleach Report about it. Do you want me to pull up his numbers? The dude he went ape shit, man. He went ape shit. He's not just another prospect. He's not some Josh Rosen coming out of, it's not that. It's not that.
I'm not comparing him to Josh Rosen, but I'm just saying, like, it's
the Bryce Young comparison. I just see so many Giants. That hits a nerve because I see so many Giants fans do that. Give me another example of that. Give me another example of a consensus number one who flopped.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that he's going to flop at all. I'm not trying to say that. Listen, Caleb Williams is a super talented dude.
All right, so
but my problem
I'll give you a chance to redeem yourself. What were you saying then? Because you brought up Bryce Young, who is a number one flop right now. So what was the comparison to Bryce Young?
But what I was trying to get at is that just because you draft a guy at number one doesn't mean it's instantly going to come in and everything's going to go the right way. That's what my point is. That goes
for any position. That goes for Aaron Rodgers in the Jets. You get Achilles torn, you're out of here, right?
But the thing is it's like, but if the Bears can get Caleb, wow, maybe in 2 years, but not like immediately.
Wow, maybe day one.
Maybe.
Day one.
It's a crapshoot is all I'm trying to say.
Joe Burrow is day one. And see, that's another thing that I don't like either is when people call it a crapshoot. It's not. You just go. I should put the graphic up. You could go with every number one quarterback every first round quarterback in the past decade. 35% of them hit.
That's playing craps.
Is that really playing craps?
Hell yeah, bro.
Well, then I need to go play more craps because I'm not making enough money doing what I'm doing these days. I need to go play more craps because when people tell me it's a crapshoot, they're telling me like, "Oh, you're gonna roll dice. You never know. He's probably gonna be garbage, or who knows? It could be good. He could be bad."
Yeah, no,
that's not reasoning to not pull the trigger and go get the number one.
No, not
prospect.
at all. That's not what I'm saying.
And I would have traded Justin Fields last year. Shit, you could have got some great value for Justin Fields last year, but this year you're not going to get that kind of value.
Especially in the offseason with all the hype that he had going into this year, they could have definitely pulled the trigger. But I don't think anybody really thought that the Bears are going to be coming away with the pick that they're coming away with. And now looking at it, dude,
I think people thought they were going to be a 7 or 8 win team because the general talk around Justin Fields was, oh, he could be an MVP candidate. And everyone's knock on it was they're not going to win enough games for him to be an MVP candidate. This was the worst football team in the NFL last year.
Mm-hmm. Definitely was. Big shout out to NYG Mason with the $19.99 super chat. So just wanted to pop in and send some love to all Giants nations, but in particular to Pest. Wish I gotten to know him more. Rest in peace. On another note, DJ
Peekaboo.
3 of those. Shout out NYG Mason. Appreciate
big
the
shout
love,
out
brother.
to NYG. We definitely appreciate that $20 super chat. Yeah, man. Big rest in peace to the homie Pest, man. That's definitely did not think that was going to be the last time I saw Pest, which was 2020. I definitely did not think that, but good to have some good memories with the homie. I went back and looked at some of the footage I had from the Fan Fest, just seeing like what we were talking about, walking into the stadium, some of the stuff that didn't make the edit and whatnot, man. Pest was just a good dude, man. Mm-hmm. Really lighthearted, always having a good time, laughing his ass off. I did get to see him kirk out one time. We were all just drunk as hell in the car, and he definitely kirked out. He like got out the parking lot, like stepped out and was like, yo, he screamed so loud and was like, I can't take this shit no more, man. So big shout out to Pest, man. I'm fortunate to have some memories with the homie, man. Pest is like, one of those people that just came into my life for a very short time span, and he was always generous. Like the dude offered, he's like, you going up? For FanFest? I'm like, yeah, I'm going up, man. I'm probably going to catch a Chinatown bus and whatnot. He was like, nah, we're not doing that. I'm coming to pick you up, man. Came all the way up from his crib, scooped me up, dropped me off, front door service, man. Met his wife. Great people, man. So, yeah, rest in peace to Pest, man, and condolences again to his family.
Absolutely. Listen, E&A understands. That's why I can understand why you would get upset with people using that term, because people are probably not using it the right way. But
listen, it depends who rolling the dice. Because look, you give me a 0.8, I'm hitting every time. I'm hitting, dog. Come on, dog. What did Ice Cube say? 7, 11. Yes, I'm looking at it. But for other people, when they say the term crapshoot, bro, this ain't no crapshoot. These people investing time, scouting these players, trying to make sure that they're the right guy.
I think
the fact being that they don't hit in the NFL, that's not necessarily up to the player not being good. Circumstances, situations, all these things matter, which is why when I bring up the Chicago Bears situation, that's one of the best situations that a rookie could be thrusted into. This isn't Urban Meyer going with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah.
This is Chicago Bears got talent over there. They should be winning games. They losing all these one-score games this year.
They'll probably fire their coach too.
Possibly. I've been hearing some things about Eberflus being a part of the big plan. And I'm like, all right, maybe we'll see. I'm of the thinking that you should be patient with these coaches. I think that it's more on the offensive coordinator and Luke Getsy than it is on Eberflus.
The streets need a body.
Yeah, the streets might need a body, but the Chicago Bears, they've been absolute garbage. There's one more topic I want to talk about with this Giants game, man. It is Wink Martindale being used as a scapegoat? Now, some information came out. I can actually play the clip. A lot of people think that this was just like a straight-up lie. I can't go for that. Jay Glazer came out right before the game, and these were the comments he had.
You know what? It's interesting. The Giants had so much success last season, and this year, it's kind of pretty interesting what's happened there. Brian Daboll, great offense coach. Wink Martindale, great defensive coach. These guys are in a bad place to the point where I don't see them actually continue their relationship after this season, maybe not even during this season. It could be a mutual parting of the ways. When I talk to people inside that organization, they're saying the tension between these two, you could feel it, and it's just getting worse, and it's just odd that it's happened considering how much success they had last year together.
That's Jay Glazer. He reported that on Fox right before the game. And Brian Daboll, you saw him, giving the post-game speech, and he was like, game ball, Wink Martindale. Throw him the ball, okay? Press conference, on Monday, Brian Daboll says, oh, yeah, me and Wink, we just had some pizza, before the press conference and blah, 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 right? I think it's a bunch of bullshit. Listen, to me, this is like the information, right? Like where you got like a group of homies and the information wasn't supposed to get out, but somebody said, hey, man, them two, man, they going at it behind the scenes, yo. I'm telling you, this ain't going to last that long. Jay Glazer goes out there and reports it. Brian Daboll's got to find a way to cover it up. Brian Daboll is a finesse artist. I know what's going on now with Brian Daboll. He knows how to keep things covered up real nicely for the New York Giants. And then you saw when Jay Glazer reported it, all the beat reporters want to piggyback off it, right? And no one was saying nothing before this. The only person I saw say anything about any tension in the locker room between coaching staff was Dan Duggan. He reported it maybe like 2 months ago. Everybody just kind of brushed it under the rug. Nobody said nothing about it. When this comes out, everybody want to start talking. Jordan Renan said you could see some of this festering. Wink Martindale wasn't happy with the whole Xavier McKinney incident. Brian Daboll had McKinney break down the team after last week's win. To scapegoat the coordinator of the team's best unit for a team that has the 32nd ranked offense would be ridiculous. Now, that's Jordan Renan, who every time he asks questions in the press conference, him and Brian Daboll got like, when it's tight. You could tell when it's tight. And it's definitely tight with Jordan Renan and Brian Daboll and Pat Leonard as well. A lot of Giants fans, when I gave my opinions on this on Twitter, they came in and was like, oh, Jay Glazer's a I hate this young generation of I got to just keep it real with y'all. Like, anytime somebody say something that people don't agree with now on the internet, it's, he's a clown. Now Jay Glazer's a clown for reporting this news. What's your thoughts on this?
Jay's a pretty he's a pretty connected guy, right? Well, now some people have their certain feelings about him in the industry, but a lot of the time he's pretty spot on. Now, sometimes these stories can be exaggerated though too. Like when you're losing games, like how the Giants have been losing games until they started winning games the last 2 weeks, right? Tempers are going to fly. Things are not going to go well. There's going to be disagreements, this and that. Like, that's part of football. So I think maybe that was probably part of the case, and it kind of just, like, spilled out into the media, and it's been made a bigger deal than what it probably is. I'm sure there's some truth to it. But if Wink Martindale was to be letting go, like, that's like Jack Del Rio getting fired has some reasoning, but the only reason why the Giants have the wins that they have is because of their defense.
Yep.
So it made no sense for Wink Martindale to get fired.
Jones' miraculous comeback against the Arizona Cardinals too.
Yeah, I mean, well, listen, we had one of those against the Cardinals too. We're not counting those games, but you know what I'm saying?
Y'all didn't have no miraculous nothing. Y'all had a basic ass 20-16 win.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me pass and enjoy everyone.
No, absolutely not.
But no,
I can't be up here fibbing.
I actually saw a funny report about Wink coming to Washington next
Head
season.
coach or just DC?
That's DC.
That's what's up.
So it'll be interesting to see. Big shout out to NYG Mason for the photo 99 cent super chat. Says from 2000 to 2020, 15 quarterbacks drafted number 1. 5 led their teams to the Super Bowl, 11 to the playoffs.
11 of the 15 led their team to the playoffs. That's pretty damn good odds. I don't measure success by just Super Bowl wins, especially from the quarterback position. Like, I mean, that's a great feat to accomplish. But
that's 1 out of 3. We're back to dice percentages, basically.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a little bit more than that if you're looking at the playoff number.
But the playoff number, yeah, if you're looking at the playoff number, but
because that's a good way to measure success, I feel like, at the quarterback position. If you were drafted in 2000 and you took your team to I mean, you saw what Giants fans did with Daniel Jones' playoff victory. That thing's in the rafters, my guy.
Oh yeah, retire the jersey number.
You might as well retire number 8, right? Like, you saw what they were doing with that. I literally got people still saying, but like, has Herbert won a playoff game? He's not better than Daniel Jones today.
There's no way those people are real people.
Those people are real people. They have
real people think that Daniel Jones is better than Justin Herbert?
Yes.
Like human beings with a beating heart and
this person, yes, with a beating heart has a functioning brain. I don't know. Maybe I'm giving him a little bit too much leeway on the functioning brain. But there's a person who creates content for the New York Giants. He'll remain nameless. I don't want to call him out like that right now. He said that Daniel Jones is one of the best players to ever put on a jersey and lace up cleats for the New York Giants.
But he wasn't serious, though, right? He said that after like a playoff win or something.
He said you could put him right next to Eli Manning.
He didn't really believe that. That's like, like there's the Beard, and then there's Awthentik, and then there's that guy. Okay?
Pauls is back there like, you hearing this guy? Yes, these are real people, bro. Like, faith and belief is a really wild thing. It's a wild thing. You remember when we were watching? You remember when we were watching Ricky Hatton versus Floyd Mayweather?
Oh my God!
You remember what your faith was doing? You were like, Ricky Hatton's winning some of these rounds, man.
He did win a couple, man.
Yeah, man, that faith in that
Conor
belief,
McGregor fought Floyd Mayweather better than Ricky Hatton did.
Yeah, he definitely did. He didn't get knocked out either.
I haven't heard that name in so long.
Yeah, I remember that day. I was looking at you like, you really think this man's winning some of these rounds? Like, he is not. Yo, your bias is kicking in right now. Your Irish roots of Jones was kicking in, dog. Like, belief is crazy. I know what that's like. So I get it. Some of these fans, man, they really want this quarterback to pan out, that they're convincing themselves they're watching the fight from the perspective of their fighter.
Mm-hmm.
They're not looking at it from the perspective of these other fighters. They turn on a primetime game. They see a guy like Justin Herbert failing, 6 straight games. He's at a 3-point deficit. He can't get his team over the hump. Oh, that guy can't be better than our guy. Daniel Jones had 5 winning drives last year. That's how these people talking. So I get it. Belief is a really wild thing. It'll make you think your quarterback's balling. But to speak more about what NYG Mason is talking here, if you have number 1 draft, he's talking about number 1 drafted quarterbacks though, which changes the percentages. I'm talking about all first rounders. Yeah. I would like to know what the percentage of those number 1 quarterbacks are franchise guys. Has there been 15 quarterbacks drafted number 1 since 2000? God damn. I know. Was it Marcus Mariota or no? Jameis Winston went 1, right?
I think it was Winston over Mariota.
Yeah, and then it was Carson Wentz was number 2. Who was number 1 in that draft?
Jared Goff.
That was Goff. So Goff is a franchise quarterback. Goff is absolutely a franchise quarterback. I almost want to look at this list.
I'm trying to. Yeah, I have to because I need to look at this.
I can show you guys every first round quarterback drafted since 2000. Let me pull it up real quick here. Bong. Gotta love the instant access we have these days. It's a beautiful thing, man. Let me take this. Can you remove that the chat off the screen so I could go full screen on this real quick? So this is every quarterback drafted in the first round since 2011. So not 2000. So Cam Newton, absolute franchise quarterback. Andrew Luck, absolute franchise quarterback. EJ Manuel, not so much. Blake Bortles was
EJ Manuel drafted
He was number 16.
1?
He was number 16, though. He was the only first-round quarterback in 2013. Jameis Winston was number 1. Jared Goff was number 1. Baker Mayfield was number 1. Kyler Murray was number 1. Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence. That's it. I mean, just look at it from 2011. How many of those guys are misses? 1?
At number 1?
Yeah. Jameis Winston. That's it. Cam Newton, Andrew Luck, Jared Goff.
Andrew Luck ever win a playoff game though? I mean, I know he retired early.
Don't you dare throw no shade at Andrew Luck.
I'm not throwing shade. I'm just was a serious question. This is a serious question.
Without the fam seeing us right now, I will murder you right now. You can see me. I wish they could see me right now.
I'm just curious.
We're gonna talk about that. Now you had Baker Mayfield. So of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 first-round quarterbacks, you have 2 of them that missed. I don't even look at Baker Mayfield as a miss. I just look at it like the Cleveland Browns just gave up on him. I thought he was a franchise quarterback.
Listen, the Cleveland Browns, if you got drafted to the Cleveland Browns and you were a quarterback, you were doomed.
Yeah, for a long time there. And
they
Baker
did. Brady Quinn. Brady Quinn's career was ruined because
he was no good though. You see, remember when I was just talking about, watching a fight from your fighter's perspective? Where did Brady Quinn go to school?
Brady Quinn threw 5 touchdowns in a game.
Where did he go to school?
Notre Dame.
Yeah, that's why we're talking about Brady Quinn right now. So you're looking at 5 of those 7 since 2011 are franchise guys. I look at Kyler Murray as a franchise guy. Now, let me go back and spin the wheels on Andrew Luck one time. Do you remember the record of the Colts before they got Andrew Luck?
Mm-hmm.
What was it?
It was 1-15.
It was not 1. It wasn't 1.
2-14.
I thought it was 4 wins. Now you're going to make me go look at it. Andrew Luck turned that franchise around. Back-to-back 11-win seasons, they didn't have shit around him.
Yeah, I know. But I just was asking, has he ever won a playoff game?
For what?
I mean, you said that was one of the things that, you look at for a franchise quarterback.
Not necessarily. I said that's what fans look at for franchise quarterbacks. I talked about Daniel Jones hanging that in the rafters, not me.
Well, I mean, because you said, when he was talking about Super Bowls, you were like, playoff appeaprences. That's more what I judge things off of more.
Stand on 10 toes, say you was questioning Andrew Luck, man.
I'm not. I'm an Andrew Luck guy. I just wanted to know if he's ever won a playoff game.
Doing.
I mean, listen. Nothing against Andrew Luck. He retired early, man.
Because he was getting his teeth kicked in because they wouldn't build around him.
Exactly. But, I mean.
Let me see if my memory was correct, though.
Jimmy Clausen was not a hit. He was not a hit at Notre Dame either. He was supposed to be the damn golden boy.
2 wins. 2 wins for the Colts. No, not playoff wins. I'll look up playoff wins. You should have been doing that while I was doing this. But
Oh, Luck
They were
went
2
to
and
an
14.
AFC Championship game.
There you go. They were 2-14 before they drafted Andrew Luck. He came in there and he put up 3 straight seasons of 11-5 and then 2 8-8. Come on, man. Andrew Luck might be the best quarterback of all these people that were drafted number 1 out of all these dudes.
Speaking of Jimmy Clausen, if you ever get a chance, look up the Cam Newton clip where he's talking about Jimmy Clausen.
Oh, yeah, when he was in camp with him, yeah, about the number. Yeah. Yeah, he was dead serious about charging him $1 million for the number. And that's why Cam stopped wearing number 2.
Yep.
Yeah, real interesting. So we still got one more game to go over. Let's run through this after all that first round talk. End of the day, man, listen, I don't want to hear nothing from nobody talking about, but this guy might not hit it number 1. I don't want to hear that. Even Jameis Winston, I'll deal with that. Jameis Winston threw for 5,000 yards.
You have more quarterbacks that are sustainable NFL quarterbacks than you do Jamarcus Russells. Let's just say that. That percentage is way better.
There you go. That's it. So these guys are going to come into a situation they're eventually going to be winning games for the most part. You got a good chance. It's not a crapshoot, as my Giants Nation likes to say, man. We could go get Mr. Irrelevant. That's what people are telling me on Twitter, bro. San Francisco's got a franchise quarterback over there. They drafted him with the last pick in the draft.
He sounded so much like Mike just now.
You're right. Yo, look, that voice is a Mike voice. Look, this is another one. Jalen Hurts was drafted in the second round. Why can't we get our quarterback in the second round? Y'all are the same people that were saying Jalen Hurts was trash and Daniel Jones was better than him.
That is why, listen, was that Stan? Was that Stan that brought that up, or was that Ash Buddy that brought that up? I forget
Stan.
It was Stan. That was, to me, was one of the biggest bars on Twitter and like for ages, because that is so
It's
true.
so true. It's
so
so true.
true.
They
There's
use
still
Dak
people out
Prescott.
here right now that think that Jalen Hurts is not good quarterback, not elite
I
quarterback.
literally am dealing with it right before we went on air. He's being carried by a championship team. Okay, so how come Gardner Minshew wasn't winning games when they put him in?
Listen, look. Hey, shout out Gardner Minshew, man. Had a good game. Colts
Let's talk about it, man. Let's get right to it, man. I've been looking forward to talking about this game, man. The Bills traveled to Philly to take on the Eagles. We up here having a good time, man. Appreciate everybody sticking through this, rocking out with us, man. We had to catch up. No giant overreaction. Definitely some long-winded sections. I like that, though, man. I need to get that itch off me. I had to talk some good football. The Bills, man, sitting at 6-6 right now. Surprising 6-6. The Philadelphia Eagles are 10-1. They end up beating the Bills 37-34 in overtime. The Eagles were favored by 3. They won by 3. Vegas doing something over there. They shaking up some dice or something. I don't know what's going on. Josh Allen is now 0-6 in overtime games in his career. Sean McDermott is now 8-9 in one-score games. The Eagles have been outgained in total yards 4 weeks in a row. Their record in those 4 games, 4-0. The Eagles are now the only 10-1 team in the NFL. They overcame a 17-7 first-half deficit for the second straight game. They improved to 7-1 in one-possession games this season. Them Jets, man, they got that one asterisk on the Philadelphia Eagles one time. I don't know how the hell they beat them. The Eagles have now won 10 or more games in back-to-back seasons for the first time since, you want to take a guess?
19. Well, it's probably McNabb years, I'd say. So
2013.
That was McNabb, or that was McNabb?
Post McNabb. McNabb was over there frying from like 2000, say like 2006, maybe 2005. He was around that time. Including the playoffs, Philly is 17-3 in its last 20 home games. Let's talk about this game for a little bit. The Bills scored 17 points in the second quarter to take a 17-7 lead at the half. At that point in the game, Jalen Hurts was 4 of 11 for 33 yards, had 1 interception and 22 rushing yards. He did have 1 rushing touchdown, but he had a fumble as well. The Eagles went on to outscore the Bills 17-7 in the fourth to force overtime. Jake Elliott hit a 59-yard bomb to tie the game at the end of regulation. Cannot forget about how bad the weather was in this game. You know, I was looking at this weather for the New York game, and we started to see a little bit of rain in the fourth quarter. They were playing through that bad weather throughout the whole entire game. Now, this would have been a 49-yard field goal, but Jason Kelce had 2 false starts, ended up pinning him back another 10 yards, and this dude made a 59-yarder to force overtime. Bills won the toss in overtime. It came down to a 3rd and 6 for Josh Allen from the Eagles' 22-yard line. I mean, they were moving the ball in overtime despite Josh Allen not really having a great overtime. He was 2 for 6 at this point, and he overthrew a throw to Gabe Davis. They just weren't on the same page. We were talking about this backstage a little bit. Gabe Davis running a little comeback route on a hot route. Josh Allen thought he was going to be running deep, ends up throwing the ball down the field. It would have been wide open. Gabe Davis turns around on the comeback. They end up having to settle for a field goal. Gabe Davis did have 6 receptions. He was the leading receiver on the day for the Bills for 105 yards on 12 targets. And the Bills settled for a field goal there to go up 34-31. And you just knew it. I mean, as soon as he overthrew the ball, you saw the coaching staff. You even saw Sean McDermott like, oh, my God, like, how did we miss that? Hurts leads the Eagles down on a 9-play, 75-yard walk-off touchdown drive. I had some dude telling me he saw the game. You know, Jalen Hurts being carried by his team. His offensive line pushing him into the end zone on both his rushing touchdowns. That was not the case here. Jalen Hurts is him. All right. I don't understand how people have not put respect on this dude's name yet. Shout out Lord Brunson one time, because I see Lord Brunson on my Twitter timeline, like in these full-blown personal arguments all day long with mostly Dallas Cowboys fans, right?
Yeah.
And I get it. Like, could you just imagine if that was your quarterback? Like, just imagine if Jalen Hurts was your quarterback and you had to listen to everybody around the NFC East saying, nah, he being carried by his team. The dude put up 5 touchdowns in this game, 200 yards passing, 3 through the air, only 1 interception. The completion percentage is not great. But it goes to show you how this kid is battling through adversity and bad weather, still finding ways to win all these games. I told you this on the episode 2 weeks ago. The Eagles' identity now is starting to become win ugly. The first person I heard say that was Colin Cowherd. And Colin be wrong on a lot of stuff, but when he says something that it's a gem and it's a bar, I cling on to it. This is why I like Colin. A lot of people be throwing big shade towards Colin, right? When you cover football every day of your entire life, Monday through Friday, for as long as he covers football, some people not going to like you. That's just what it is. But what's the saying? There's a rap song right now that actually says this too. Like, if you ain't got no haters, you ain't really popping. That's really what it is. Like, you have to have some haters. When I heard Colin say that, I was like, damn, because I was searching for the identity for the Philadelphia Eagles myself. Like, what is their identity? It's the quarterback. And I don't know if you remember when I said this. I was like, I don't care how Jalen Hurts wins games. Like, he wins. It don't matter. This dude can go out there and be 18 of 31 and go out there and win the damn game. Now, 5 total touchdowns. That's a new career high for Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is the second quarterback since 1950 to start 10-1 or better through 11 games in back-to-back seasons. The only other person to do that is Peyton Manning in 2005 and 2006. People have been talking about Lamar Jackson's winning percentage throughout his career, rightfully so, because he deserves that. Not enough people are talking about Jalen Hurts, the winner. He's won 14 straight games against teams with winning records. That's the longest streak by an NFL quarterback ever, period. That's it, okay? The Eagles are now 27-2 in their last 29 regular season games where Jalen Hurts is the starter. Bro,
that's Alabama, like top of the college game sort of thing.
It's as good as it gets. It's a 93% winning percentage. 93% winning percentage for Jalen Hurts in his last 29 games. This dates all the way back to 2021. I went through, looked at all the game logs today. I'm like, this don't make no damn sense. Like, he beat Washington and he beat New York in 2021 in week 15. These stats start from then. 27-2 from the week before he played both of our teams. Dude has been completely balling out. Now, since 2021, Hurts has registered a 78% winning percentage. He's 32-9. It leads any quarterback since he's been a starter, pretty much. It was the 4th straight game in which Hurts rallied the Eagles back after trailing at halftime. 4 straight games. 4 straight games now. And these aren't some like, oh, man, he's handing the ball off to DeAndre Swift type of wins. This is the quarterback struggling in the beginning of the game and then finding a way in the second half to win games. The Bills dominated the box score. If you just looked at the box score, you would think the Buffalo Bills won this game. Yeah. First downs, third downs, fourth downs, total plays, total yards, passing yards, turnovers, time of possession. They won the time of possession battle 40 minutes to 26. You're not supposed to win these games. Now the Eagles beat them in the red zone. 4 for 4 in the red zone. The Bills were 4 for 5 in the red zone. That should win you the game. The Bills had 11 penalties for 80 yards. Not good. Philadelphia was clean, four penalties for 30 yards. Josh Allen was so damn good in this game. And this is why you have to put Josh Allen in the MVP conversation. 29 of 51 in the rain, 339 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was the leading passer and the leading rusher for the Buffalo Bills. 81 yards on the ground on just 9 rushes, 2 touchdowns. The difference in this game, Josh Allen is an elite quarterback. Elite quarterbacks beat other elite quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts is an elite quarterback. Coming into the season, I had Jalen Hurts in the top 5, but I was very weary about doing that because I felt like he didn't show things with his arm talent that warranted me saying that this dude is an elite quarterback. I want to be first around the corner. Jalen Hurts is absolutely an elite quarterback. He has that it factor. When trailing in the second half, this stat is just, bro, I still don't understand why people can't get it through their thick heads that Jalen Hurts is a guy. When trailing in the second half this season, 10 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 67.5 completion percentage, a passer rating of 138.6, man. I could have came up here and just said, the Bills lost to Jalen Hurts, and that's it. Because that's what this was. I told you before we got on air, I damn near turned this game off. I was like, damn. And I'm going to tell you what I was thinking about. I was telling you on the preview show, I said, if the weather get ugly, Josh Allen got the advantage. I was wrong on that. Because Jalen Hurts was like, second half, no, sir. I'm about to step up my game. There are people that when their backs are against the wall, they perform the best. Yep. And I think that's Jalen Hurts. You see this guy in the press conference. You see this guy in the post-game conference on field. He's not happy.
And his back has, before I forget this, because I love that you said that, and this has been something that I've been talking about since the day he was drafted, and you can attest to that. His back has been against the wall since he was in college. He has been this way. You know, like, he's been this way since then, and he has always – listen, remember what I used to say, and I haven't said it in a while, I say, you know, it's not about what's left, it's about what's next. Mm-hmm. That's Jalen Hurts.
Oh, yeah.
That's Jalen Hurts. He is never satisfied. And you could tell it, but just by everything, the way that he carries himself in every aspect of the game, from the pre-interview to the play on the field, to the halftime interview, to the play on the field, to the post-game interview, to the next day press conference, is all the same. The dude is just different. It is something that, like I said in the beginning of the show, there's something about Jalen Hurts that you're never going to be able to see in the box score. It's just something
in this case you see it. I mean, 5 touchdowns, 200 yards. You know, how many yards did he have on the ground? He had like 60 on the ground, right?
Yeah,
65 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns on 14 carries. I mean, you might not see it all the way in the box score, right? But it's there. It's there for you. Like, this dude, 11 rushing touchdowns on the season.
And listen, you want to know, he's got the best offensive line. That offensive line put him into some bad situations in this game. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you know why though? No Lane Johnson. Yeah. They ain't have Lane Johnson at right tackle in this
Kelsey,
game.
you talked about the false starts too. Like, that was like a critical moment too in that game. Mm-hmm. You know, when they were driving and stuff. It's just, and he throws a great ball. He finds the guys at the right time. And we talked about it too. Like, A.J. Brown, he had a touchdown. But it was the last thing I said on the parlay was, don't be surprised. And we both talked about it. You had said, don't be surprised if they both have 100 yards and a touchdown, right? Yeah. And I said, watch Devonta Smith have a big game. Man, he came up clutch in this game. It's just, they find a way to win. The difference between the field,
seven receptions for 106 on 8 targets and a touchdown. Yeah. And AJ only had 5 for 37.
Yeah, the difference between the Philadelphia Eagles and every other team in the NFL is that they win. They know how to win. And a lot of people, listen, the same amount of people that don't like Jalen Hurts, there's probably more people that don't like, Sirianni. But I love it. I love Nick Sirianni. And I just think
I'm good with Sirianni.
I just think that, like, because
only losers, bro. I promise you this. Only losers don't like that mentality.
Yeah.
What you want? You want old school Bill Belichick just sitting up there winning games, not saying nothing?
You know I don't.
It's 2023. It's 2023, bro. Like, I don't mind the coach being a little bit, now sometimes you got to tame it back. When Jalen Hurts got to say, hey, coach, get your ass back on the sidelines. You tripping.
Yeah.
We can't have that at the same time. But, like, I don't mind him leaving the stadium looking up like, yeah, what y'all got to say now? Y'all was talking. Can you imagine the type of shit he was hearing walking out to the stadium? Because people don't just do that for no reason. So I'm good with Nick Sirianni. I like it. And you remember last year, people trying to discredit him. Oh, one of the narratives towards the end of the year was he's on a ride. He's got a championship team, and Howie Roseman is really the MVP.
Yeah,
Nick Sirianni's just along for the ride.
Driving
What does he do
the
well?
damn car.
Yeah, man, makes no sense. I mean, they got a great team over there, and shout out to Roseman for putting that, or Howie Roseman for putting that team together. You know, I mean, like, this was a team that a lot of people thought were in shambles and were in cap hell after they signed the Carson Wentz deal. And 2 years later, they're Super Bowl contenders and probably the best team in football right now.
Yeah, I think I could confidently say that the Philadelphia Eagles are the best team in the National Football League.
Yeah, and defensively, I thought they played a better game, although the score, the scoreboard doesn't show it here. I thought that they had the better defense, and the Buffalo Bills came into this game with their defense completely banged up. But there were a lot of standout people in this game. The Bills only had one quarterback hit on Jalen Hurts. Hurts was sacked 2 times in this game. The Eagles only had 4 quarterback hits on Josh Allen. He was only sacked once on the day. But Philly had 4 players with double-digit tackles. Kevin Byard led them with 13. Nicholas Moreau had 12. Reed Blankenship had 11, and Zach Cunningham had 10. Jalen Carter had 3 pressures on Josh Allen. Jalen Carter currently has a 19% pass rush win rate per PFF. No rookie D tackle has had a better mark since PFF started charting those numbers in 2006. James Bradbury had 5 PBUs in this game. He was targeted 15 times, and he had the interception. And then, I don't know if you saw the play late in this game from Jordan Davis on a second down where it was in overtime. Josh Allen was driving down the field. It was right before the mishap on third down to Gabe Davis. And Josh Allen had a lane to run the ball to the outside. And Jordan Davis just straight chased him down. Big man, 330 pounds. They clocked him at 16.9 MPHs, man.
You think I could beat him at a 40-yard dash?
No. It was the second fastest speed reached by anybody who's over 330 pounds.
Crazy.
Can you, there are players in the NFL that are built with my stature, Devonta Smith being one of them. 6 foot, 160 something, 170 maybe, right? Deshaun Jackson. Could you imagine being one of them dudes and a 330-pound dude's coming at you 17 miles per hour?
I'm going down.
Yo, I'm definitely going down. And also, Howie Roseman's first ever draft pick, Brandon Graham from 2010. He broke David Akers' record for most regular season games played by a Philadelphia Eagle at 189 games. And he had the only quarterback sack for the Philadelphia Eagles. So just, this is the kind of game where it's like when you're a great team like the Philadelphia Eagles are and you find yourself in a tough situation, you just got to keep chiseling away, man, and keep trying to chase those victories. And this is the most resilient team right now in the NFL. I still don't quite know if they're the best team in the NFL, but when you look at potential, if this team could get clicking for real, like get A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith both playing great games, while DeAndre Swift is in the backfield, getting carries and getting 80, 90 yards, and Jalen Hurts giving you the rushing that we're accustomed to seeing and throwing darts around the field, and their defense is doing what they need to be doing, man, this is an alley-oop for a Super Bowl team.
Okay. Right, so shout out Brother L in the chat and says, yet the Eagles are underdogs in their upcoming game against the Niners. Just think about this. They just played Dallas, and they played Washington too, okay? We'll throw that in there. But before Washington, Miami, Super Bowl contender.
No, Fugazi.
Well, okay. Well, they're one of the top teams in the AFC.
0 wins against teams over 500. But go ahead.
Okay, so Miami, Dallas, Kansas City, Buffalo, and now 49ers.
Yeah, you about to see what's
that's
up.
And they're coming out of all that, and we still got the 49ers game, but that's all wins. And now you got to play
the
49ers.
49ers game is in San Fran.
Yeah, in San Fran.
What they favored by?
San Francisco's favored by. Oh no, excuse me. This is in Philly.
In Philly. That makes that weird. That makes
and
that
they're
weird.
favored if the 49ers are favored by 3.
Yeah, that makes that weird.
That probably that might change.
I'm putting some money on that. Let me know when you place them bets. I'm putting money on that.
But I mean,
Jalen Hurts is on a mission.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody stopping them. I really think that they are going to win the Super Bowl this year.
I would not be surprised.
There's one team that I think could stop them, and it's not the San Francisco 49ers. In the NFC, it's the Dallas Cowboys. You know, you trying to beat a team 3 times in one season.
It's tough.
You know, they still got the second matchup coming up. It's going to be tough. I like the Cowboys. Both these teams have not played to their potential.
Yeah. And we haven't seen
49ers,
Dallas
I think we
play
know.
against anybody yet, really. So that'll be interesting to see because I think Dallas's upcoming schedule is going to be a big test for them. We talked about that. And Dak is playing his best football right now and going into that, which is huge for Dallas. So, like, I think we'll see how Dallas plays these next couple of weeks. If they continue to play the way that they're playing, then, man, it's going to be a fun time down the end of the stretch of this season for sure.
Yeah, and for the Cowboys, it's unfortunate that they're a wild card team right now because they're having to deal with the Philadelphia Eagles. Otherwise, they'd be a division winner, absolutely, in any other division right now in the NFC.
Outside of the West, right?
Even the West, the 49ers got 3 losses.
Dallas is still at 2 losses, huh?
Dallas got 3 losses, but they've played 1 less game than most teams.
Okay.
You know, so I mean, they'd be right there at the top of that division. You got Seattle been battling for that division over there. And I can't remember what the score was. 49ers handled the Seahawks. They handled them. Yeah. So that go to show you that they're not in their class. But I think we know who the 49ers are. Good defense. Their offense is high potent, but it ain't as high potent as Philly or Dallas, I don't think. I love CMC. He's a great player.
Not as consistently potent, I'd say that.
You know, Debo, like I seen, some clips going around about Debo and, making fun of James Bradbury that he's a trash cornerback and whatnot. He doubled down on it and whatnot. And you look at Debo's numbers this year, he ain't doing much.
No, Brandon Ayuk's been a better wide receiver over there this year than Debo has.
Yeah.
I mean, Debo's been hurt,
that might be 2 years in a row now because Debo was hurt last year too.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I think Dallas, when you look at the AFC, you can't rule out Kansas City. Really, if the Bills could get in.
That's the thing. That's the one thing right there.
Yeah.
If Buffalo gets in, they're the most dangerous wild card team
for sure.
Forever basically, because that's a team that's a division winning team. You know what I'm saying? So if they can find a way into the playoffs, oh man, can you imagine being like the Jags or the Texans?
And you got to play them.
And you got to play the Bills in your first home game.
Even if you the Ravens, God, seeing the Bills, that might be a quick one and done. But I do think the Ravens are another team. You mentioned them. I think they're another team that they can compete. I'll let the cat out the bag. I wrote it down on a piece of paper right in the preseason. My Super Bowl prediction was the Cowboys and the Ravens. I thought bringing in Brandon Cooks, they lost Trayvon Diggs, but it seems like they have not missed a beat with Deron Bland out there, Stephon Gilmore. They have talent everywhere where they need it. The one thing that is got me a little bit sketched out is Tony Pollard's productivity. Not having another running back with him that, maybe Rico Dowdle can come along a little bit more. We've been seeing him, get some big runs involved in the passing game as well. But I do think they're lacking that true identity that we've seen from all the successful Dallas Cowboys teams, which is having a really good running game consistently. And Dak is a different quarterback when he doesn't have a consistent running game.
Yeah.
Yeah, but a great performance by Jalen Hurts, man. It's weird. I really wish my team was in the mix here, which we kind of are, but I'm not looking at it like that. I mean, I'm looking at it like, listen, Giants got to figure out a way to get this quarterback here in this draft. And, if they continue to win games, they continue to win games. It's not going to upset me. It's not going to make me jump out my seat. But these playoffs approaching, it's going to be extremely interesting. San Francisco, Dallas, the Philadelphia Eagles, those 3 teams in the NFC, that just presents some awesome matchups here, man. And then you got a couple other teams in the mix there, man, like the Detroit Lions, who can really make a run as well. I think these playoffs are going to be extremly interesting. And then in the AFC, for all the hype that was happening in the AFC as far as quarterbacks go, Justin Herbert and Josh Allen and the Jets with Aaron Rodgers and all these teams
Burrow.
kind of fell flat. You know, Joe Burrow, they're going to miss out on the playoffs for sure with him being out for the rest of the year. Patrick Mahomes kind of having a, just like a standard type of year for a guy like him. Not really, nothing too crazy. But Lamar Jackson and those Ravens, definitely a team that people thought were going to be good, that are living up to the hype. But outside of that, the AFC has not been all it's been cracked up to be from a quarterback standpoint. It's been, a lot of injuries and a bunch of average play. I thought that the Chargers would definitely be in the mix here late. And here they are. They're sitting. They got the same amount of wins as the New York Giants and the Washington Commanders. That don't make no damn sense.
I can't believe that. Listen, they dropped the ball. They should have fired Staley last year, man.
Yeah, I think so. All the signs were pointing to it. They probably thought Kellen Moore could have came in and salvaged it. But even in a game where the Chargers defense plays well and you hold the opposing team to 20 points, you don't come away with a victory. It's kind of crazy, So it's like Kellen Moore over there really ain't really got it going. And Brandon Staley is a defensive mind. His time is up. I think maybe we see Bill Belichick go down there, man. Maybe, get some nice weather.
That's been one of the
LA
one
vibes.
Of the rumors.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would definitely be cool. But looking forward to these next coming weeks. So you got San Fran is going to be taking on Philly. They're heading to Philly. The Giants are going to be on a bye. Who do y'all got this upcoming week?
Oh, we get the Miami Dolphins at home.
Oh, and y'all got the Miami Dolphins. Good luck with that.
Yeah, thanks.
Shootout. Man, y'all might be able to hang with them. You might. We'll see. We'll definitely see. But nonetheless, man, some great competition here. The NFC kind of looking like the more dominant division, man. I don't know. Got four nice teams there, man, with the Lions, Eagles, Cowboys, 49ers. And then you got a bunch of bums after that, though, man. Some of these teams I'm seeing in the playoff fund, I'm just like, ugh.
That South.
The Packers
winner.
still there. Vikings still there.
Hey,
Seahawks.
shout out Jordan Love, man. Had a great game on Thanksgiving.
Falcons are the number 4 seed. Sheesh.
That's disgusting. They went back to Ritter, though.
Yeah. Crazy. They got to figure out the quarterback position. That I ain't gonna go there, but that's a bad place to be in. 5 wins, number 4 seed right now, and your quarterback is in struggle mode. You got a bunch of young talent over there. You pretty much got all the boxes checked off on all the skill positions on your offense. Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan. That's a wide receiver 1, tight end, running back, top 5. He could be a top 5 running back in this league. You got to get yourself a quarterback. And a lot of people are talking about Justin Fields. I don't think Justin Fields would be a good move for them. I don't think Justin Fields is a good move for anybody. Keep it real. Justin Fields needs a Geno Smith type of situation. Sit the bench, get your mind right for a little while.
That's a good little tidbit right there. I like that. I understand that.
Yeah, and I wonder what his trade value is going to be. If the trade value is cheap, if I'm a team like the Jets, I would scoop him up.
What do you think his trade value is right now?
4th.
That's crazy.
What do you think it was?
What do you think it was at the end of last year?
Couple firsts.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. He's shown to be injury prone. That's one thing. 2 years in a row now, you got hurt. Can't protect the ball. Turns it over a lot. Big play potential. I mean, maybe the highest ceiling of any quarterback in the whole fucking league.
Just can't put it all together.
Can't put it together. And I think you need a true guru at the offensive coordinator position or a quarterback coach that will really get him right. Because there are people that can call it out. And you can see that the Bears and Luke Getsy, they're not correcting these things. Like, why is it that Justin Fields' drop back is still so slow? He's 3 years in now. His drop back shouldn't be that slow. Yeah, but that's going to do it, man. Any last words before we get up out of here and send the fam up out of here one time? We appreciate all y'all rocking with us, man, over 2 hours, man. Me and the Beard, we just catching up, man. Didn't even feel like a show for real. Just felt like we was just talking ball.
But just like backstage, like we never went live. Oops,
I know.
Sorry.
Oh, forgot to hit the live button.
No, it was a great show, man. Listen, shout out to everybody in the chat. You guys brought a ton of really good information and really good comments to kind of fuel this conversation that we had about all these different games and these different scenarios and these different players. And in a season when neither one of our teams are actually up to the level of the other 2 teams that we cover, it's great to still have you guys here to kind of push these conversations into really good debates. And even the Beard didn't really go too crazy today. You know, there might have been a few little, you know, here and there, but I stayed
I'm bringing you back down to earth.
I stayed on track.
On Mars. Didn't they say like Pluto is not a planet anymore? You was on Pluto, and I was like, bro, you're like somewhere on the atmosphere. I need to reel you back in here some way.
But we appreciate all the love and all the support from everybody across all the platforms. It does mean a lot to us.
Ben Ball, you says same value as Trey Lance to the Cowboys for Justin Fields. Yeah, I don't believe that one either because Trey Lance might be the one quarterback who has worse mechanics than Justin Fields. But shout out to Ben Ball. I'll see you on Apex Legends here shortly. Shout out to the gang, man. We appreciate all y'all pulling up, man, rocking out with us for this episode, Week 12 edition of the recap, man. This was a good vibe. Good to catch up with all y'all, get to talk some football. Tomorrow I will be on the Bleacher Report talking about the New York Giants matchup or the bye week and whatnot coming up and what we can look forward to. And then don't forget, Thursday we'll be doing the previews for the Week 13. Damn, we're already here, man, Week 13. So y'all know what it is, man. Keep raising that bar. Keep living those dreams because the universe flows in Technicolor and surround sound. Rest in peace to the podcast GOAT Combat Jack. Rest in peace to our brother Pest, man, PTA Sports, a.k.a. Pestilence. I know you watching down on us, all of us New York Giants fans, man. And I hope you send some blessings our way, especially come draft time, brother, man. We going to miss you, my guy. We definitely going to miss you. And that's a wrap, y'all. We appreciate everybody pulling up, rocking out with us today, man. It was a vibe. It's definitely a vibe, man. And I hope we, 2.5 hours here, I hope we honored the homie Pest in proper fashion. So y'all be good, man. Enjoy the rest of y'all evening. We will catch y'all on Thursday for the preview show. Y'all be good. Peace.
Spike don't care.